Class A title time in Raleigh. Tarboro and Corvian community meet in the state capitol. It's an Eastern dynasty and an 8th straight title game, and the new kids on the block. First charter school to make it into a state championship environment. Looking to cap a perfect season. Happy to have you back here at the NC State campus, and certainly for championship football. And this is one that's been waited for a long time. Folks been waiting on this one, having it circled, because these two powers are about to collide.
Yeah, new kids on the block. I like how you call them that. Tarboro, they have cemented their legacy. Corvian looking to cement their legacy right now with the win over the Tarboro Vikings.
Well, you think about the different way these two teams play. It's going to be an added wrinkle to watch them as they battle it out with one another. Let's go ahead and dive in on some of the key individuals we are watching. We start with the Tarboro T, and you know who's prominent in it.
Absolutely. 96 attempts, almost 1,400 yards, 17 touchdowns. We have Cameron McDowell Moore. Everything starts with him.
Well, he is one of a number of individuals in that backfield expected to make a difference for the Vikings today. You flip over on the other side. Who do you highlight for Corvian?
Yeah, you look at A.J. Jackson, quarterback. Everything starts with him. 132 attempts, almost 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. The offense is going to start with him. It's going to run through him. He's going to control the tempo of the game.
He is the leader of a group that, when you think about it, jump-started this program. I mean, think about 3 years in. These guys that are seniors, they've been there to lay the foundational building blocks. If they're going to grab a first title, what are the keys to the game?
Well, we look at the keys to the game for Corvian. They have to play fast and be physical and win in the trenches, have to establish that line of scrimmage. And, of course, for Tarboro, that patented Tarboro T, run the ball and force the 3 and outs on defense so they can run the ball again and rack up those rush yards.
Our Ingles food for thought, those are your keys to this Class A football game. The dynasty that is Tarboro, and we introduce you today to Corvian community in the state championship environment for the very first time. Room for one atop the hill in Class A from Raleigh. Next. Well, just about ready for action. Captains meeting in the middle of the field between Corvian community and the Tarboro Vikings. And we'll check in with the third member of our broadcast team, field side now. Take it away, Hannah.
Well, guys, it's the tale of two teams today as Tarboro comes in making their 8th straight state championship game appearance. But after coming up short the past 2 seasons, this is a game they've been prepping for since January. At the end of last season, a lot of the Viking seniors went to Coach Craddock's office and made him a promise that they would finish the job this season. And that's all in support of their mantra of Valhalla, which means Viking heaven. It's written on the front of all of their helmets to reassure and reestablish their identity, that it's about self-sacrifice, and just have that reminder every time they step on the field that they're playing for something bigger than themselves. And then Corvian community making it to the big stage for the first time ever in program history are not letting that enter their noise coming into today. Head coach Chris Emil Sr. told me that he wants to continue to be 1-0 and continue playing how they played from start to finish, but wants them to really seize the moment today and not take this one for granted, guys.
12th straight conference championship appearance, 8th straight state championship appearance for that group in those familiar colors. And you just heard Hannah tell you the story of an upstart, a jumpstart program at the Corvian community. You know, Eric, a 152-mile journey for his group from the Charlotte area, a 78-mile journey from Tarboro and Viking country. And all that's left now is about a 3-hour tour to settle it out for who's going to be the 1A champion. What do you look forward to about this one?
Well, first and foremost, I got to give a shout out to Coach Craddock. I love that manufactured motivation, Valhalla. That's what we're playing for. Man, that's giving me goosebumps up here, right? But yeah, you know, with Corvian, not to take it for granted, it takes a lot of work to get to this game. And coach is just saying, hey, fellas, here we are. Don't take it for granted. Enjoy the moment. Have fun, but know what you're fighting for.
Well, it's a team that has already played for a state basketball championship in its very young history. Now for the first time, and for the first time, as we told you in the open, for any charter school to play for a North Carolina state championship. And the guy you saw on your screen, Coach Chris Emil Sr., he was Uncle Chris to many of these players who he knew long before he took over as the head coach of the Corvian program there in the community. We'll talk about those great family connections and storylines, but it was the makeup of this roster, and that and the weather a little further south than Ohio, that resulted in the draw to him becoming the head man there. And for Coach Craddock, he finishes out this run with his son, another storyline we'll get into when all is said and done, and a group of young men that grew up alongside of his son that are like that to him in the family that is Tarboro. So great storylines, great family emphasis, and why not? It is the weekend before Christmas as we welcome you back to Raleigh and get set for this championship game. Time for our initial Roan Law kickoff. And with it, we are underway between the Vikings and the Cardinals. Here is a touchback to get things started, and you are going to get to see that Tarboro T right away. How do you describe it to folks who may be new to the state of North Carolina? If you've been around a while, you know, but how do you describe it to folks that may be new to the environment?
You know, back in the day, we would maybe call it the wishbone, and it's, you know, 3 running backs in the backfield, but it's almost like the shell game, JP. Sometimes the quarterback is going to turn, and you don't know who has the ball. So that means defensively, you're going to have to be just disciplined, gap sound, and follow your keys, because if not, you're going to find yourself with a 100-yard rusher in your midst.
And Tyler Powell, you may just say he's the guy that directs traffic on the Tarboro side of things. He's under center and is going to turn, as you would expect. First one on the ground, first one good for about 9. What a carry. In fact, that last lunge may be enough for a right out of the gate Hamrick's first down. If this is any indication of what's to come, vintage Tarboro.
Yeah, a little quick fullback dive there. You're going to, you know, get all the motion with the halfback running all over the field, but just a quick little turn, get to the fullback, and it's a 9-yard, actually first down. So we're going to get a full dose of that.
That's a 3-year starter, Mason Satterfield, and it was on that final lunge just enough, as we said, for a first down. It's going to be kept in the interior, going to go into the hands of Caden Everett. Well, you saw Mason Satterfield on the first carry. You saw Caden Everett on that carry. We introduced you to Cameron McDowell Moore as our player to watch. They are the 3 major players in the backfield. Here's the rest of the Tarboro offense.
Yeah, and you got to give a shout out to the big fellas up front, that O-line, because this game plan here is an old lineman's dream. They're going to drive the ball down your throat each and every play.
Coach Craddock telling us they have come to a place of working as one unit. He's about to lose them. They're all just about in their final campaigns, an experienced group that really adjusts on the fly. He's got to said, I'll figure that out later on. Just going to enjoy them today. Here's the defense trying to stop that push. Who do you highlight for Corvian on defense?
Yeah, I like Adrian Scott, their number 8, the D lineman. He has 29 tackles for loss, 77 tackles. This defense has 220 tackles for loss. Of course, they're not going to throw the ball too much, so they want to reinsert themselves into that backfield.
Tarboro on the move. Here's that big play capability as Satterfield breaks loose. Will not be drugged down until he's just outside the 10-yard line. You may think it's 3 and 4 and 5 yards, but sometimes that turns into a whole lot more.
Yeah, and they'll take it. Don't get me wrong, but just a quick hitter once again, right up the gut. Look at those big fellas getting in that second level and mashing those linebackers. And Satterfield, he's a 1,000-yard rusher, 18 touchdowns. Looks like he's going to add some more tonight.
Can you ready for this? Trio combined for 2,979 yards. They just went over 3,000 yards as a unit between the three of them. A group that averages right at 12 yards per carry. So, and that run will help that average a little bit.
Indeed. And you talk about selfless play. They don't care who gets the credit because that name across their chest is going to get all the credit.
That's Valhalla now working in the heart of the one-care NC red zone. And from the red zone, just that quickly to the end zone. First touchdown belonging to Caden Everett, a Meg Brown Home Furnishings TD. Tarboro like clockwork. Already up 6-0.
And JP, that's what I'm talking about, the shell game, right? You see the quarterback Powell there. He turns his back to the defense. And it's just you're trying to figure out like a 3-card Monte, figure out who has the ball. And if you're not sound in your run gaps, then this is going to be a long night for you.
It's the junior who puts the finishing touches on this impact drive, getting the job done very quickly. And, well, haven't called his name yet from an offensive standpoint, but he also handles the kicking responsibilities, and that's Cole Craddock as you get one more look at Everett there. Craddock, of course, who
after this to the goal, replay the try.
You heard that, the encroachment call, going to move it just a little bit closer, but Cole Craddock, of course, the son of the head man who has kept this a dynasty there in Tarboro, Jeff Craddock, who we'll talk a great deal about today, and he's on to try and deliver the extra point to make it 7-0 Tarboro. A little bit of trouble with the snap. Going to be covered up. That is it. Just 6 on the board for Tarboro, but it is a methodical drive that sends a message for the crew here for the 8th time in a row. Touchdown for Caden Everett, and Tarboro right back where they're used to being.
At Wells Fargo.
Tarboro, North Carolina, that remembers a time when the football season doesn't end in the state championship. Good luck finding one. This crew here for the 8th time in a row. They make it a habit of getting off to a good start. That's the case again. 80-yard drive as you look at the scoring summary on our McIver Law 6-play effort that ended in the Everett Rush.
Yeah, it's nothing too fancy. It's nothing, it may not be pretty, but let me tell you something. It's an offensive lineman's dream to be in an offense where you're going to grind them into the ground, and that's what they've been doing all year. I mean, this team averages, good gracious, 52 points a game running the ball, JP.
That's impressive. Here is a Roan Law kickoff as we'll see the first touch for Corvian Community in this Class A title game. The return to the 20, and that is all available to Noah Best, who you'll see on both sides of the football. It's one of the great things about Class A. The same name's going to be all over the field in all three phases because it's Ironman football at its best.
I'm glad you said that, JP. Ironman football. You're never going to come off the field. Offense, defense, special teams, your extra point, punt, kickoff return, your best athletes, because you have so few kids in the school, right, to choose from. I mean, you have to play both ways.
Speaking of best athletes, Andre Jackson Jr., AJ Jackson, as he is known there in the Corvian community, leads this group out. Before he can run the first play from scrimmage, though, we get a flag, and it appears as if, initially it looked like here's the call.
Encroachment on the defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, I was going to say, initially it looks like the Vikings are retreating, and they will do so. Our officials today from the Triangle Association. We'll give you their names here in just a bit as you look at the Tarboro sideline. What a job Coach Jeff Craddock has done. He talked about how hungry this junior and senior group is after the outcome the last couple of trips to state. Well, quickly into the backfield to get the job done, Tyler Powell. Did we mention Ironman football? That's the quarterback on the Tarboro side of things. Let's flip over and take a look at the offense for Corvian.
Yeah, we highlighted Mr. Jackson Jr. there. In our players to watch, over 2,000 yards, total yards, 31 touchdowns. He's going to control the tempo of this Corvian offense.
It's got to be one of the few places in America where you see the quarterback as a defensive lineman on the other side of the ball. That's how good Tyler Powell has been. He and his comrades stop things right here. Think about Powell, 21 tackles for loss, 19 sacks that leads the team when he's not quarterbacking this unit. And there you see some of the help he has in Cole Craddock. Here's the rest of the Tarboro D.
Yeah, Tyler Powell, 80 tackles, 21 tackles for loss at defensive end. He is a hard-nosed, tough kid. You love him. You don't want him to come off the field because he's going to give you all he's got.
Our lineups, like our broadcast, brought to you by Tatum and Atkinson, the heavy hitters. Heavy hitters arrive on this scene, not before Noah Best has the football and what seems to be a Hamrick's first down.
Yeah, Noah Best is one of the leaders here. 12 touchdowns on the season, 1,300 total yards. He's that's a good grab. Hopefully you got him enough for the first down. Looks like they may mark him just a tad bit short there, but we can expect to see a lot out of him today.
You're right. Going to end up being fourth down. Once they get the down marker in place, it's got to be inches from the 30-yard line, which is where they need to work their way. And you see just how far that is off the line there. It's going to be a fourth down and inches scenario after the spot.
The runner was short of the line to gain. It's fourth down.
He had to explain it to everybody. Going to be a fourth down and very short for A.J. Jackson and company.
It's just in case those were wondering, what was going on.
It is going to be fourth down. Let's see if they can convert, going for it from deep in their own territory, turning and handing it off. But it creates a head of steam, and it will mean a Hamrick's first down this time around. Let us introduce you to Cameron Johnson for the first time.
Mr. Johnson. This looks like just a stretch zone play there. He's going to pick his own hole, and he chooses the right one, gets up enough for the first down.
Cam Johnson, they talk about how well he has taken instruction as he continues to grow into his own, coming back tougher this year. And he's going to be tough to bring down for this Tarboro defense. 1st and 10 from the 34. To the skies, Best. And he is covered up. That's a great open field tackle. Cameron McDowell Moore, one of the key backfield members for the Vikings that plays in the secondary.
Yeah, quick hitter. They're just trying to outflank Tarboro, thinking, they hadn't had a whole lot of success running right at them. And you would think that a running team wouldn't be that good against the pass. Well, let me tell you something. These kids fly around, and there's Cameron McDowell Moore. He shows you why he never leaves the field.
It's going to be handed right up the gut to Cam Johnson. He's good for a couple there, but Craddock, he fills up space. 59 solo tackles, 63 assisted, 10 for loss, 3 sacks, and oh, by the way, he's picked off a couple of passes. There is the son of the head coach at Tarboro.
Yeah, you love his leadership. He's a senior, been there. And, it's pride and joy. You get to coach your son and play for your dad, and you can imagine they have a great relationship, and it shows on that field.
Just a little toss far side. He's on the scene here. First tackle won't work, and still moving with the football is Johnson. Up near the marker, we'll see where they spot him out of bounds.
That's a nice little pop by Harper there, but good play. You know, they're testing the edges right now. They're planning to see what's going on and how it's going to set themselves up for success, you know, later on in this half as well as the second half of this quarter.
Harper second on the scene. McDowell Moore was there first but couldn't make the stop, which speaks to the elusiveness of Cam Johnson. A.J. Jackson, after the Hamricks first down, was rewarded. Keep it in the heart of things himself. Let's talk A.J. Jackson just a bit. Dual threat, definition of it. You know, they talk about watching film on him, opposing coaches, and how unbelievable some of the plays he puts together can be.
Yeah, I watched the Western Regional Finals last week when they went up and played against Mountain Heritage, and he had like a 65-yard scramble for a touchdown or something like that. The kid is a phenomenal athlete. We're going to see him tonight. You know, he's looking at that empty set. He's run it the last time, but threw it this time.
Yeah, kill you with his legs, beat you with his arms. That's what one coach had to say about what he can do and what he provides. Just a tremendous player. And you see him move the chains again. That's a Hamricks first down into Tarboro territory. Early indications are both these teams able to move the ball fairly effectively.
And what's interesting, JP, is you know, Corvian, you know, they rely on the run, but they throw the ball as well. Tarboro is able to move the ball, it seems, at a faster pace by running the ball as opposed to them throwing the ball. And so, but, you know, with the ball never hitting the ground, it's going to make this game go by a lot faster.
Got to take advantage of each opportunity with the football because those touches may be limited. This is going to be the keeper for Jackson. A.J. Jackson, of course, the point guard on the basketball team. He's a National Honor Society guy, and the terminology used by Corvian head coach was that he is the heart and soul of this football team.
Yeah, that's awesome, JP. And I just wanted to point out something real quick. Number 34, Cavenius Bridges, just helped Jackson up. After, you know, popping and making a stop, he helped them up. You talk about sportsmanship. These are two well-coached teams, and they're playing for the right reasons. They're going to play as hard as they can. They're going to hit you in the mouth, help you up, and do it again.
Yeah, and then you remember what this is really all about. Right. It's, they all come together as North Carolinians beyond whoever hoists a state championship trophy at the end. Back in Noah Best's grasp, but Craddock and company on the scene quickly.
Yeah, just gap integrity on the side of Tarboro. And just making sure they keep everything in front of them. You know, play stout defense is what Coach Craddock talked about, and that's part of it.
You know, this defense that has pitched 8 shutouts this season and allowed 12 points across the past 6 games gives up an average total of 8 points per contest. That'll work out well for you in the long run.
For sure, especially when you score 52. So you're looking at a differential of 43 points that they've outscored their opponents on average. That's ridiculous.
Just remarkable. 3rd down and 10. Backside pressure and swallowed up at the base of that Wolfpack logo is Jackson. It is Tyler Powell again as one quarterback introduces himself to another.
That, JP, they ran like a little stunt in the middle. You know, as you see a twist with the nose tackle and the tackle come around, and that puts them in one-on-one with the defensive end and the tackle. And so, yeah, he just made a beeline to the quarterback.
For the Tarboro QB turned defensive end, that's the 20th sack on the season personally. He has been a force from that side.
It's amazing.
Going to be 4th down and 14. Deep shot. Playing a little center field back there, and looking as if he was going to come away with the football was the defender, but it is wrestled back by Noah Best.
That was a fantastic grab. You kidding me? It looks like it was an interception, but it looks like number 6 Everett there, and he just snatched it away from him. This is look, it's an interception right there. Amazing play, and he takes it from him as he comes down. We don't have instant replay, but that looks like it hit the ground.
From the official's angle in their defense, going to be tough to see from behind his back where that is. Some of the fans saw the replay in the stadium and weren't as pleased, but again, they don't have the benefit of slowing that down. The guys that are in stripes and Best wrestling it at least away enough to get it out of the hands of the defender, because you heard my voice and you said it. You thought for sure that was going to be a pick. It was not to be. Red zone opportunity for Corvian. This is the first OneCare NC Red Zone chance for the crew representing the West Regional champs. Second down and 8. We'll call it 9. Over the middle, that was disrupted just enough. Third down is coming. Well, in a play like that, Noah Best appropriately named. He certainly was when it comes to what he was able to secure on that play. Cameron Harper, the individual that was there to provide a little bit of disruption. Important third down right here.
Mm-hmm. It is. And Corvian, they're showing that they can hang with them. They took the blow. Tarboro came down and drove the ball right down the field, and they scored in 5 or 6 plays. And now here's Corvian, their first possession of this football game, and they're showing that they can hang with them.
Also showing that what you said with the pace of this thing, 1 touch for each team, and we're 3.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter, interestingly enough. Trying to find some space. Jackson going to be swallowed up. Too many purple jerseys there. 4th down as he worked his way back to the line of scrimmage, and that was about it. Guess who was on the scene again? Harper one more time.
Sorry, JP. Yeah, bend, but don't break. We're going to see what kind of kicker we have here in Corvian. I believe it's Cooper Peterson, I believe, is coming on the kick and or for the try. And, for Tarboro, it's a win. They got inside the red zone and were able to hold them out. Let's see if they can hold this attempt here.
The kind of kicker you have is the kind they want at the next level. He's good from about 35 in. He's a guy who also handles the punting responsibilities, averages about 40 in that department. Just a tremendous kicker. And his first chance will put Corvian on the board. Corvian community able to connect on a field goal to cut the lead in half. Both teams with points on their opening touch of the football.
Take the guesswork out of your furniture and accessories.
Missed extra point. Perhaps that made the decision to go ahead and post 3 on the board. A little easier. It cut the lead in half. I know you're not a big fan of chasing points, right?
That's exactly right, JP. You don't want to chase points.
Highlights, interviews, a whole lot more coming up as a part of the halftime report. Our halftime report throughout the course of this championship weekend in the state of North Carolina coming your way in a lot quicker maybe than you think. We're toward the end of the first period here as, Tarboro's going to get the football back for just a second time, and we're inside 3 minutes remaining in the opening quarter.
Yeah, 2 disciplined football teams. Of course, Tarboro is not going to throw the ball a whole lot. When they do, they really mean it. And Corvian comes in and is slinging it all over the yard, but they're doing it very efficiently. So the ball's not hitting the ground, so therefore the clock continues to run. And to your point, JP, with Tarboro, missing that extra point and chasing points, sometimes that can be an Achilles heel for you.
Roland Law kickoff going to be scooped up at the 5. Vikings return up across the 25 and finally working his way out of bounds on this return, a guy you're familiar with by now, Mason Satterfield. Here's a look at the 17-play, 67-yard, and 7-minute, 22-second drive. That'll get your attention.
It certainly will. And, that time of possession, the longer Corvian holds that football and has in their possession, the less this high-powered offense of that Tarboro T is going to be on the field. And so, that fits right into the game plan. If they can continue to do that, that could be a recipe for success.
All our scoring summaries today brought to you by the McIver Law Firm. First down from the 30-yard line for Tarboro. There will be no shutout today for a team that, as we told you, has 8 of those on the year, including a couple in the postseason. But these familiar colors back at it again. to expound upon it for Tarboro just a little bit, Eric, this is a group made it here each of the last 2 years, dropped a 20-7 decision and a 21-3 decision to Mount Airy. So a junior and senior upper class group of guys that are really focused on closing the deal this time around.
Yeah, they have to. This is a familiar atmosphere arena for them, right? Now it's just sealing the deal.
Runs like this will help. That's another dose this time around of Mason Satterfield. He's got a Hamrick's first down and then some up near midfield.
Satterfield, just a quick fullback hitter, quick trap right up the gut, right? And they're going to run those hatbacks and kind of give the linebackers, we like to call it that eye candy. Have them running around and flashing and stuff and just hit that quick hitter up the middle, and that's where he's getting the lion's share of his yards.
Left side. Stacked up pretty quickly is Cameron McDowell-Moore. McDowell-Moore maybe a yard or so before he's brought to a halt. There's Jaden Summers. He's one of the highlight performers on this defense as well.
Yeah, he's, and this defense for Corvian is going to have to play gap sound defense. In other words, what I'm saying is they're going to have to keep the shoulder square, read their keys if they get a down block, and they fight against that pressure, and hopefully their linebackers can flow and make a play.
That'll be a struggle in the trenches for maybe a yard. Going to bring up a 3rd and 5. And quickly into the backfield in order to disrupt things. You got his name?
Yeah, big Michael Edwards. Love it. I love when the big fellas get excited, right? You see him, he just shot the gap. He shed his block, and he is right smack dab in the middle. He's letting them know it right there. He wants everybody to know. Check him out.
Love it. This school introducing itself to the state of North Carolina in many ways today. He does so personally. And on 3rd down, about a yard is all. Big pump of the fist for a number of these Corvian-based products. And, we continue to call name after name. There is James Dukes III. They call him Trey, and he takes care of business here.
Yeah, shedding blocks, and they're running down the line of scrimmage, keeping their shoulder square and getting to the ball. And I tell you something. This Corvian defense has kind of made some adjustments. Those quick hitters, I'm sure that Tarboro is going to go back to the quick hitter, with the fullback trap. But trying to outrun them, they're seeing how fast this defense is.
This looks to be a punt. It will be. It'll take a Vikings bounce inside the 10-yard line. Finally rolled to a stop at the 8. That is where Corvian will take over. Nice defensive effort there for Corvian. You think about the points that Tarboro is capable of scoring. Just look at the last 3 games. 71 against Warren County in a 71-0 affair, by the way. 50 in a 50-0 affair against Pender, and 59 against Wilson Prep in a 59-6 semifinal contest. So this is a team that has been rolling up the yardage, the stats, and the points on the scoreboard. And so far, you see a stop for Corvian that the folks from Corvian community hope will be a sign of things to come.
Yeah, they've been playing well, JP. I mean, once again, Tarboro is accustomed to running up and down the field, and really having their way with folks, especially here in the playoffs. Corvian is saying, not so fast. We know you're the king, but hey, we're coming to knock you off.
Well, you got to remember, it was this Corvian squad that knocked off top seed and 2-time defending champion Mount Airy by a 14-7 score a couple of weeks ago. That ended that 43-game streak. They're now trying to deal with another dynasty beyond the Granite Bears in this Tarboro squad. That rush takes us to the end of the first quarter. Yes, folks, they'll be passing quickly with these two teams not passing all that much. 1 in the books. These two separated by 3. Ready for the start of the second quarter at the Class A championship game in North Carolina. Our broadcast presented by Tatum and Atkinson, the heavy hitters. For a little more on the family connections in this one, let's check in with Hannah.
Well, guys, the family ties run deep on the Corvian staff. Coach Emil Sr. brought on his son CJ to the staff as his running backs coach, and his younger son Taryn, who is a senior at the University of Cincinnati, also helps out whenever he is home from school. But the family ties also trickle down into the players, as well as Andre Jackson Jr. and Chris Evans, who are Coach Emil's nephews. And when they were all younger, around the age of 5 or 6, they would come up to Ohio for football camps. And Coach Emil shared a photo with us earlier this week in the basement on one of those visits where his son Taryn was babysitting them, and CJ was upstairs just making sure everyone was acting like they have sense. But he told me that a lot of the reasoning for coming to Corvian had to do with his nephews, and just sharing that experience with them today has been a full circle moment, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Annie. He said they called me honorary Uncle Chris. I mean, I go by Uncle Chris, but that was even before he became the head coach at Corvian. Of so many of these young men, they would fly up to his camps in the state of Ohio for the Youngstown product, and he said it became a no-brainer when I had a chance to unite with so many of these. As this is broken up, incomplete. Boy, great coverage in the secondary here. Take a look at this job by Bridgers.
Yeah, Jackson, showing his arm strength and trying to go over top of that defense. Pretty good coverage right there. Met him right as the ball hit his hands. But yeah, we can expect this, a little bit more of this to stretch that defense out.
But you talk about the Corvian coaching staff. So many of them were best friends growing up from the educational years, and they raised their kids to some degree together, came and did camps together and whatnot. When they had a chance to unite, help build and establish this program, it was a complete no-brainer. Got that family type atmosphere on one side of Uncle Chris, godfather with some of the other coaches for his kids. You got the father-son scenario on the coaching staff there. You got the father-son scenario in those colors on the other side. You certainly hope all is well with Bridgers as he comes off there just ahead of the punt. But and we'll keep an eye on his status. It looks like this is going to have to be redone, a flag before the start of this play. But, family is a big part of football, E. There's no doubt about it. Not many can speak to that as well as you can.
Delay a game on the offense. After this is the goal. 4th down.
As you saw there, the penalty going to bring it back. But not many can speak to it as well as you can related to the football and the family connections. It's a big piece of this sport.
Oh, for sure. I was able to play with my brother, and we grew up in the same community with so many of our friends that we played sports with. And it does form that brotherhood. And when you have a coach that you refer to as Uncle Chris, your dad is coaching, or, uncles and other folks in the community, it makes it that much more special.
Yeah, and the communities that support these programs, among the best in North Carolina, they're going to have something to celebrate as a family. Time to take a look at our first quarter stats. I know they were just handed to you. What jumps off the stat sheet at you so far?
Well, you look at the rushing yards for Tarboro. They're already over 100 yards rushing for the game so far, and they average, about 300. 0 yards passing. In Corvian, of course, they have 53 yards passing there. So you can definitely tell the varying styles. Both are successful, and one thing, too, look at the penalties. Just one on each team, so they're well coached.
I knew something was missing from what we saw a lot of in that first game so far, but the rapid pace and rhythm of these two making a difference in that area. Was still on his feet, Cameron McDowell Moore, and he's going to work his way inside the 25 to the 24-yard line, give him a first down, move the chains with a Carolina Ford Dealers movement of the chains.
Once again, it makes it so tough when the quarterback, Powell, turns his back to the defense and you don't know where the ball is, and you have to trust your eyes, follow your keys, and it'll take you right to the football, because if you start guessing, then you're going to be in trouble.
Vikings on the move. Plenty of room for McDowell Moore, and he is into the red zone. Here comes the latest of the One Care NC red zone chances for Tarboro after this run.
Yeah, I love how he just powers through, and this is just simple power. They outnumber you at the point of contact. He's driving his feet, 1, 2. He makes it, he powers through about 3 arm tackles. You saw right at the end that ball kind of got loose there.
10-yard line. That's about all that is going to be available. Big 5'5". Trey Dukes able to step up there and try to stay the progress of the ball carrier. One more thing that these two coaches have in common, they both have the Ohio connections. Coach Craddock, he's a Browns and a Cavs, and on down the line it goes the old Indians and all those, and now Guardians, all those Cleveland sports teams. He said they had never met one another, that they both have the Ohio roots, but they made sure in the elevator they were on the same side where it counts. Well, he is where it counts for Coach Craddock, and that is McDowell Moore into the end zone, a Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown, and he looked to be untouched,
Yeah, and this is what they do. This is the Tarboro team at its finest. Just simple power going to the left side there, breaks through one arm tackle, and waltzes into the end zone.
He wasn't one of the headliners. It was Satterfield and Everett on that opening scoring drive. But the third and that three-headed monster out of the backfield making his presence known. We told you that trio of over 3,000 yards this year now between them. And Cameron McDowell Moore, a touchdown of his own. Tarboro lining up now. They're going to try to put it at 14 after the missed extra point earlier. They go to Satterfield. And he is turned away just shy of the goal line on the 2-point try. It'll stay at 12-3. What a start between Tarboro and Corvian. That Tarboro T has produced a couple of early scores. Well, not so early. We're in the second with the way these two teams move the football. Well, there have been 16 state championship appearances for Tarboro. 9 of those have gone their way, and Coach Craddock, understanding more than most the fickle nature of the state championship environment. He said, I've had some teams I thought was going to win it. Didn't happen. Had some teams that maybe surprised me a little bit that they did win it. You never know when you get here, but one thing's for sure, if you can get here consistently, you like your chances, and he's brought his team here for the 8th consecutive year. Here's that touchdown, and you love the block.
Oh, yeah. Watch number 8 right out here on the edge, Craddock. He's gonna kind of hook this in right here, and then watch how he turns and gets number 1. Boom, right there. That frees him up. He doesn't even see him. It's not a knockout block. I mean, he didn't, crack back and kill him, but he just did just enough to flatten him. But that's why he was able to waltz into the end zone scot-free.
There is the McIver scoring drive, and you heard Eric say it. He's a Craddock as well. That is the senior and the son of the head man. He talked about how this group blocks for one another, that's such a big part of this offense, and how they celebrate one another. He said that the thing he's enjoyed most is watching this unselfish group of backs celebrate the success of their teammates. That can be a lost art at times in a world that can focus on individualism. To have a group of guys like that that can continue to celebrate one another is a luxury.
Yeah, that unselfish play. That no matter who gets the credit, we're going to get the credit because it's about that name across the front of your jersey.
That's the Tarboro way. That's that Valhalla that Anna was telling you about a little earlier. Cam Johnson involved in this, but there were flags on this play, and we'll get the call from our referee.
Holding on the offense. Half this to the goal. First down.
Haven't introduced you to our officials just yet. While they back this up, our referee is Sean Delaney. Umpire Steve Shelton. Mike Utley is a linesman. Mike Chalk is a line judge. There you see the rest of this crew. Mr. Waterloo, Mr. Milner, Mr. Pettis. That group, again, out of the Triangle Association, responsible for officiating this game. And as we say, each contest, congratulations, because they've earned the right to be here.
That's exactly right. They're at the top of their field, the top of their craft, and so they're rewarded by calling the state championship game.
all kind of open real estate, and cutting it outside on the perimeter where he can reach the 28-yard line is the dangerous Noah Best. That's a big-time play for this Corvian squad in the shadow of their own goal line.
Yeah, and it looks like they can do some perimeter blocking as well. Just a little option right there. And we're going to watch. May come to your screen right there. Number 3, I think that's Quarles the third that gave that block to spring him for that first down.
You know, some guys are listed as a running back. Some guys are listed as a wide receiver. Noah Best is listed as both. He's one of those individuals that emerged as a threat, as a cornerback, as well as on the offensive side of the football, a tremendous athlete, Eric.
Yeah, you got to love it. Once again, these young men work so hard in the offseason. And they train, they run, they lift weights, and not to mention they have to study because they are student athletes, and they put it all, lay it all on the line. They're rewarded with the state championship game.
Cam Johnson compliments him well, another of the seniors who, as we said, has made that tremendous growth in those strides. Talk about how well he takes instruction. Boy, isn't that a compliment for a kid in this day and time as well. Toss near side, any day and time for that matter. Ours, theirs, everybody's. This is going to be Best again, who is out of bounds on this side. You know, they talked about how hard he worked and kind of had a coming out party in the summer camps when he was going against guys that are highly regarded, headed to places like Ohio State and Michigan and otherwise, that his athletic ability really shined. And I thought it's high praise to hear them say he's among the most explosive players in the state of North Carolina, and it's true.
You got to love it. You know, you put the work in, and you love to see the young men get rewarded when they are playing on the biggest stage here. And, you know, we can't say enough about the coaching staff and how they just really love these young men. And they probably spend more time with these young men than they do their own families, and that's why they look at them, you know, as an uncle or as a, you know, call them coach, but that has so many titles.
Did we reference Ohio State? Both of these guys from the state of Ohio, and though they had never met before, they met in the elevator at the press conferences the other day. The first thing they checked to make sure they were both Buckeyes. So they will be busy tonight when their game is over, watching to see what happens in the college football ranks. But they shared that special moment, and a couple of guys from a highly respected state and region, you know, where football came from, where the Hall of Fame is located. And making their presence known in North Carolina. Making his presence known, Mr. Davis.
Mr. Davis. You love it when the big fellas get in the action, man. He's doing his little celebration dance, the little shimmy, shimmy, shake. Go ahead, big fella. Do your thing.
Well, the terminology on Davis and Chenal up front, Dickens and Powell, is they will fill up space. You need no further evidence. What a nice job on that last play. Deep shot down the near side, in and out of the grasp of Doug Quarles III. And the fans murmuring a little bit, depending upon which side of things they're on. We'll let you decide for yourself here.
Yeah, looks like they're both hand fighting, letting them go a little bit. And then I think right at the end when he grabbed them, and I think part of it is, too, he didn't look back for the ball. We'll see if it is the call defensive pass interference, but it seems like it's going to be because he did turn his head.
Pass interference on the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And you hit on the most important thing there. The one thing they will not allow you to get away with is never looking for the football.
Right. They call it face guarding. You know, if you just run and you don't ever turn and look and your hands in front of the receiver's eyes, they're going to call that, you know, pretty much all the time. But here, you know, had he just turned and jumped or leaned into him, they probably would have called it.
First down play from the 36 for A.J. Jackson and company. Whistles again, and for all the cleanliness of play in that first period, we began to run into some issues here in the second.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So we'll call that the announcer's jinx because we said, hey, only one penalty for 2 yards and one for 5. And here we have a few since then. But you hate seeing those pre-snap and post-snap.
Well, you know, we always lay it on the officials, too. We love those guys. They're some of our favorite guys in the world. But the minute you introduce them, they suddenly start getting all kind of face time. It is a weird thing how that works. But, again, congratulations. And couldn't happen without them, and they're among our favorite people in the sport, that's for sure. Rolling far side, A.J. Jackson, and he's going to be gathered up from behind. Jackson was weighing his options, and he ultimately ran out of time. Why? Because his counterpart, Tyler Powell, was chasing him down.
And once again, coming from the backside, you know, a lot of times, JP, that backside end or outside linebacker is going to be on an automatic blitz when they have trips or quads away from them because there's nothing to the outside of them. They're usually going to lock up that cornerback with man-to-man, so it frees them up to blitz because most times they're going to roll that side.
Set for the second down play from behind the stick still, just trying to set something up underneath. Johnson. Too many Vikings stay home, and Craddock among them.
Yeah, well played by that defense. And right now, Corvian, they're going the wrong way. They're getting behind the sticks. But, you know, it was well designed and well set up. But you see Craddock there. He's probably seen a screen or two in his day, and he reads it perfectly and gets downhill.
Dad was talking about some of the prime moments they've enjoyed together. He talked about a particular pick six against a rival that folks in Tarboro will know well, and splitting his time between being a dad and being a coach. He said some of those moments you just have to enjoy it as a dad for a minute or two before you turn back into a head coach. Well, his head coaching scheme right now, and certainly what's happening on the defensive side of the football with Andrew Harding and company, the DC, everything they're dialing up, working to perfection right now.
Yeah, and, you know, when you put in these long down situations, you have to wait for routes to develop downfield. And when you're bringing the house, that clock in your head has got to be ticking, and Tarboro just simply closed. They constricted that pocket and were able to get this out.
Maybe a Dickens of a Christmas there in Tarboro before all is said and done. As you see the contributor on that most recent situation again, Andrew Harding, high praise from his head coach at the game he calls as the DC for Tarboro, and a defensive-minded guy. You know, all the talk is about the Tarboro T, but the defensive numbers are among what impressed us most. And we asked, is it the offense keeping your opponents off the field? Said, no, this defense has been incredibly strong. They are again here. Well, it was the usual state championship game day routine for Tarboro. They had the wife and moms of so many of the seniors and upperclassmen decorated up before they left. Jimmy John subs and on to it. The question is, will it lead to the drive of the game, which is brought to you by our Carolina Ford dealers? Only time will tell, but you'll want to stick around in the fourth quarter for the Carolina Ford dealers drive of the game. Yeah, when you're here 8 years in a row, you do develop a routine. And the 9-time champs see Jimmy John subs have the locker room decorated. He said they come over day of. The last thing I want to do is have an added element of trying to get everybody in and out of a hotel. And then you know the celebrations that so often follow the title moments. Looking for one here. They'll celebrate this run for McDowell Moore. I could hear you under your breath going, wait a minute, when is he going to go down? Not for a while.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Watch the moves of this young man. You know, he's getting through, that's 2 tackles. He puts his foot in the ground, that's 3. He makes another one 4, 5, and he gets away. Count that twice because he got away from that young man. And look at that. He almost faked himself out of his shoes, JP. I love the moves of this young man.
First down play. You might expect it to stay on the ground. It does. Here's Satterfield. You know, Hannah, it just seems like it's one back after another coming at you with this 3-headed monster.
Well, yeah, guys, we've always heard the best thing comes in threes, and for Coach Craddock's run game, that is very evident. The running back trio of Moore, Satterfield, and Everett make up what is called their three-headed monster. And guys, what sets them apart is their willingness to celebrate each other's successes. He told me that they just want to win for each other and that they love blocking for one another. After every play, they have encouraged one another on the field today and have constantly been communicating what they've been seeing defensively for the others to find success. Just a true testament to the mantra of unselfishness that Coach Craddock talked to us about this week, guys.
That's that Valhalla she was talking about earlier, which is, it's she said Viking heaven, which is about the sacrifices you make and the rewards that come from sacrifice on behalf of others. And it certainly has paid off to the tune of championship after championship. We talk about it and we throw numbers out, and sometimes the numbers can just make your head spin. Being successful in this sport is one thing. Sustaining it to the level that they have at any level is something altogether different.
Yeah, because to get to a state championship, you got to be really good, but you also got to be a little bit lucky. The ball has got to bounce your way, every so often there, and you got to have that work ethic, and it takes a village. It takes the parents, it takes the trainers, the administrators, the teachers, and these kids are still in school, so it takes them being good students as well.
He reminded us, he said, nobody remembers that my first 4 years there, we didn't win a playoff game. My first 4 years, we didn't win a playoff game. Now, no more for sale signs in the yard these days because you're in the state championship 8 years in a row. But it took some growth and some development. It has now become a rite of passage for this team to be in the state championship environment. It really speaks to what he would be the first to tell you, his entire staff, both these guys, high praise for their staffs, what they've been able to piece together at this point. Going to be a first down from the 23-yard line. The Carolina Ford dealers' first down play will wait a moment as we get movement and a flag.
Where do you think that was going? Right? Just saying.
Dead ball, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I think we've seen that movie before. There's something to the state championship environment and what might be next. What can you say about the play of McDowell Moore so far?
Oh, it's fantastic. 8 attempts, 86 yards, a touchdown. He looks a little tired. I'm sure Coach Craddock is like, that's okay. You'll breathe, and after the game, you can take a break. These young men right here, they're running the same set every single time. You never know who's going to get it. It's going to be one of those three, but they are firing off the ball. It's exciting to watch.
He had 4 touchdowns last week, 4 different ways, even threw one in there. So you talk about the ways you can utilize Cameron McDowell Moore. He's a talented junior that can do just a little bit of everything. And, coaching staff said he's the man. What more can you say when you talk about the different ways he can score? A very talented piece to the puzzle for this Tarboro squad. It'll be second down from behind the sticks.
Yeah, sorry, JP.
Oh, you good.
I'm thinking as an offensive lineman. I played offensive line when I was in high school up to my senior year, and this is an offensive lineman's dream. You're running the ball every play, and I get to lean on you every play. Man, it's nothing like it.
Well, and this offensive line worth getting into a little deeper because, they're not the huge guys you may be accustomed to seeing there, but they do have enough size, but also mobility, This is a group that can get around pretty quickly. All the starters on the offensive line and the tight end to tight end scenario are seniors, so they are experienced. They are able to get themselves mobile when they need to be. And boy, have they helped ignite this recent run for Tarboro.
I love it, man. The big fellows are leaning on you, and they're saying, hey, baby, I'm going to be here all night. We're going to get this thing going.
Yeah, when you can get that whole group to work as one, you've done something, and it usually ends like this. Yeah. With Mason Satterfield in the end zone, another Tarboro touchdown. And as we're praising that offensive line, they make a little more space to celebrate the Meg Brown Home Furnishings TD. This last statement was made about the line, the best group adjusting on the fly they've ever had. They got some backs that can do that pretty well also. Satterfield was impressive weaving through traffic.
Yeah, just a fullback dive. That's mano-a-mano downhill, straight in the grill and saying, hey, stop me if you can. And they had been able to do that. And this is going to be all night.
Tarboro going back to the extra point department this time around. A missed extra point on the first touchdown. Tried the 2-point conversion. It was not to be the second time around. And Craddock punches this toward the goalpost, but he misses it this go round. So a little bit of trouble with the snap on the first one. This one a bit off the mark. And, you know, the touchdowns have been no problem, but everything's coming in sixes with nothing on the backside of it right now.
Hey, but who needs an extra point when you got Satterfield, you know, running for 6 every 2 minutes, it seems like.
18 on the board for Tarboro. As that one just a little bit wide. No worries. They're still celebrating in purple, and here's why.
Look at that. I love the chip. You know, the chip block with the center just coming off, and he's looking for work. No, big fella number 75. That's who is that? That's Jamari Pittman. He's looking for work. I love it when the big fellas look for work, and they will celebrate with dancing in the end zone.
Yet another Meg Brown Home Furnishings TD, capping the 8-play scoring drive. Our summary brought to you by the McIver Law Firm. The 23-yard Satterfield rush capped it.
Yeah, and there you go. I mean, this is old hat. It's rinse and repeat. They're going to run the ball down your throat as often as they can. As often as they get it, they're coming downhill at you.
McIver Law Firm scoring summary. Call your attorney, Roderick T. McIver. Our scoring summary sponsored by the McIver Law Firm. Here comes the Roan Law kickoff, which will be fielded at the 3. Best upended as he came across the 15-yard line, and bodies are still flying around.
I love the coaching of both of these teams, first and foremost. Can't say that enough. But you look at the lane integrity of Tarboro as they're coming down, they're keeping their shoulders square, and then once the ball gets about even with them, then they're making their adjustment and attacking the football. I love it.
Well, a season of first for Corvian continues. You think about them being the first among the charter schools to make it here. You know, he said it was a first for us playing some Monday and Friday games in the same week with what happened, you know, out west. You know, that Mountain Heritage team, they battled it out with at the end. 2 representatives, particularly in that part on up in the mountains of what so many folks in Western North Carolina, and our thoughts and prayers remain with our friends in Western North Carolina who continue to battle with the lingering effects of Helene. But it adjusted everybody's schedules, including Corvian. Deep shot down the middle. They grew in those moments, and it translates into greater moments like this. How about this toss and catch? And Doug Quarles III reels it in from A.J. Jackson.
Yeah, that was a great ball from Jackson and great concentration by Quarles. You know, just patient timing right down the middle of the field, like he was jogging at first. Great concentration on that, no doubt about it, in double coverage.
Yeah, in double coverage, you said it. That's remarkable. Quickly to work again. Under 2 minutes to work with here. That's snatched out of the sky. Taken right back away by Kip Biggs, and he's got blockers in front of him all the way to the other side of the field at the 39-yard line. Kip Biggs, the junior quarterback, with the takeaway for Tarboro.
Look at how they rally around that young man. Yeah, that was a great concentration. You know, you talk about the tip drill all the time. He caught it and made a great return on that. Looks like we have some players down, but, you know, it was a pretty good play. It just went through his hands right there. Great concentration and, you know, big return. And look at all the blockers getting out in front of him, trying to clear the way for him. You talk about teamwork. That's awesome.
That's an example of a player that is playing the ball and not the opposing player right there as well. Left himself in a position to snatch that away.
That's exactly right. Another takeaway, big play for Tarboro.
Player down at the 44-yard line being tended to. And, you know, that was a point of emphasis. You hope all is well there, because, again, you lose one in this battle, you're losing somebody who's playing 3 phases for you.
Yeah, you're right. So one individual, you may lose 2 or 3 positions. Exactly, JP, depending on what hat they wear, you know, offense, defense, special teams, you just never know.
And as they just pointed out in the truck, you know, you have to shake off quickly what just happened to you, because you stay on the field even after a miscue. You know, in an INT, the ball doesn't bounce your way. And here you are right back out there trying to erase the memory. And if you're able to do that, it can end up being a good thing in the end. You know, the turnover battle is one thing we haven't talked a lot about today, but it is one of the points of emphasis when we were talking with Tarboro's coaching staff this week. And you know, thanks to both coaches for giving us plenty of time this week in preparation. They said one thing's Corvian has done well is win the turnover battle. That's going to be something worth tracking today.
Yeah, because that's a big one. As Corvian was gaining some momentum, driving down the field, had a great catch there. Then unfortunately turned the ball over there. No fault of anybody. It was just a great play by the defense, and the ball goes through the hands of the receiver. And so here we are once again with Tarboro on that patented Tarboro tee with great field position, looking to add another score.
Yeah, that was one of those tip your cap moments. Not much you can do there. They do throw the ball from time to time, and this one's going to be incomplete. It was contact at the end of things, but the Hankies stay tucked away for now. That was intended for Cameron Harper. It can be. This is a team that's thrown for 700 yards this year, so don't sleep on these moments either.
And it's because of things like this. They run the ball every play, right? That one time that they look up, and he was running free down the field, had the quarterback just let him, but, they don't do it a whole lot. They're going to get back to what they are good at, that patented running game. But, yeah, that's going to be open all night.
Tyler Powell handles this so well. A guy who's not a me guy. They talk about his hard work. Again, he's a defensive end, as you've already became acquainted with across the course of things. But, he's 34 for 57, 720 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, and a couple of interceptions. So tuck that away in the back of your mind. And we haven't talked about it yet, E, but big shoes he filled. Omar had been the quarterback the last 3 consecutive years. Fans familiar with him because of what he did in the state championships environments. And to come in, step in for Omar and do the job he's done, Tyler Power has been impressive.
Yeah, and that's a great stat you read out there, 34 for 57 with 16 touchdowns. Close to half of his completions have been touchdowns.
So when they decide to do it, you better watch out. Of course, those of you just finding us, he's also showing his skills at the defensive end position. That's a rarity, having a defensive end who flips over and is quarterback. But, you're reminded you don't want him running at you when that's the case as well. Inside the final half minute, as a name we've called once or twice already, Christian Evans is involved once more. Well, 3 effective drives for his crew so far in this half of action. Will one of those be the Carolina Ford Dealers drive of the game? Time will tell. We'll select the Carolina Ford Dealers drive of the game in the fourth quarter. Ford F-150 on your team. And what it is, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today. Take us inside the huddle.
Yeah, and so, something I was just thinking about there, JP, they're at 18. They have 18 points. They've missed those 3 extra points.
Right.
Corvian, if they hang a couple of touchdowns, then that could come into play, trying to chase those points. We saw where Coach Craddock, went for, 2-point conversion a time or two, and then he just said, hey, let's try and kick it, and then missed it. So that could prove to be important. But, Coach Craddock is saying, hey, let's keep doing what we've been doing.
Keeps us a 2-possession game right now.
That's right.
You think about the scenario that you would be in otherwise. It is of interest to tuck away in the back of your mind. 4th down with 29 seconds remaining in the opening half. Verdict on this drive, hanging in the balance. Boy, he got close to the marker, did McDowell Moore. But it looks as if he's going to be a little short. 23 seconds as they get ready to switch out units here will be what remains. It is Corvian football. We talked about this Corvian team. A resilient squad is the term they use. They battled through some early season injuries. We talked about how they had to play some games on Mondays and Fridays in the same week to get the job done. You're 16 games into the season now. They don't do that too many places at too many levels as what these high school kids have had to do. They have been resilient, took down Mitchell in the play to end things. Then in the playoffs, Eastern Randolph 27-14. Top seed, 2-time defending champion on a 43-game streak. Mount Airy went down to this group. And Mountain Heritage in an absolute battle, 28-19 last week. It's been a journey to get here for Corvian.
Yeah, it has. They have shown that resilience. And that's why Coach Sims was saying, don't take this for granted.
Now, and one thing about the season being a week later with the adjustments, staying in bounds there just for a moment, there's a couple of valuable seconds come off, out of bounds with 15 seconds to play. Both coaches mentioned it. With everything backed up a week, midterms are going on. at the schools, and it's allowed for a little more practice time, but it's been a different wrinkle in terms of having them on campus with the championships being a week later than they normally are.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. You got your girlfriends and, all these things going on, and, the distractions of the holidays. I shouldn't say the distractions, but the joys of it.
They said video games and movies, but you're getting right down to the heart of it there.
Exactly.
You start talking about girlfriends and the holiday. Here comes a rush left side hash that's going to be covered up with 5 seconds to play. And the clock will stop. Got a player down, it would seem, for Tarboro. A little slow to get up.
That is the second of the half.
Craddock's going to be helped up. Looks like he's okay. And a second timeout taken here. All right, what do you do with this 5 seconds here?
If you take a shot. You have at it. You definitely don't want to get the ball back to Tarboro. Of course, it's third down. But with only 5 seconds, I think you try and take a shot, JP. If best case scenario, you get a score in there. You never know.
You got a 2-for-1 if it happens.
That's right.
When you come out in the third quarter. Highlights, interviews, a whole lot more coming up as part of the myspot.nc.gov halftime report. Our halftime brought to you by myspot.nc.gov, the Health and Human Services Department of the state of North Carolina. That is 5 seconds away, but what do these 5 seconds hold?
Yeah, Tarboro's just going to play cover 2, make sure nobody gets behind him.
Best purple jerseys converging on him, and they'll rush him out of bounds up near midfield. That will be the half as we await the thoughts of the head coach.
The end of the half.
Your thoughts on this first half?
Yeah, I think that Corvian is realizing that they are in a fight of their lives. They hadn't faced an opponent like this yet, especially at the 1A level. And so they're going to have to make some adjustments, come out and try and establish themselves on offense.
Yeah, if you have, when they reach this Tarboro group, they can point to, as you said, that 14-7 win against Mount Airy that you documented and what they did against Mountain Heritage. But it's a different animal with this Tarboro T on this day. And we'll see how it shakes out in the second half of action right around the corner. Well, all the coaches across the course of the weekend, so gracious with their time to visit with us. And it's always nice to get their immediate thoughts. We have a chance to do that as we go down to Hannah now.
Well, Coach, your defense has been in command in this first half. What stands out there?
Well, we've done a great job, I thought, defending the run. They got on the edge. This is number 5, just a great football player. So that young man's going to make some plays, but we got to get off the field on 4th and long. We can't give that up. We have guys in positions to make plays. We need to make plays because they're good enough. If you allow them another series or 2, they're going to score, and that's my biggest concern.
You told me this week that controlling the line of scrimmage was going to be crucial for today's game. How do you continue that in the second half?
You just got to keep up your intensity. I mean, they're a great team. Well, I think we're a pretty good team also, so we just got to keep putting pressure on them on both sides of the ball and don't give up the big play. Don't turn the ball over.
Well, best of luck, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
A veteran of this environment taking his team into the locker room for a second half challenge. They will carry the lead into the intermission. 18-3 our score in the Class A title game. Stick around. You'll learn a whole lot more about both these schools. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association will have stats and highlights all coming up in just a moment.
Spa.nc. You're watching the myspot.nc.gov halftime report. Get protected this holiday season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
Hey everybody, I'm Nelson Weston. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Friday Night Rivals. Joining us today is our longstanding good friend all the way from Ingalls Markets, Melissa Lever. Good to see you, my friend.
Your football friend.
It's football friend indeed. Now, Melissa, speaking of football, I want to transition from football to the classroom because you and I both know y'all have a famous program called Tools for Schools. And for those who are unfamiliar, how exactly does it operate on one hand, but on the other hand, more importantly, how do the good folks at home go about supporting it and getting involved today?
Oh, Nelson, it's really a wonderful program because it's geared toward the school and the needs that they have that sometimes, lots of times, teachers will actually end up buying out of their own pocket.
Indeed.
You have an Ingalls Advantage card and a list of schools who participate in the Ingalls Tools for School program. Link your card to one of those schools, and every time you shop, you're earning dollars. At the end of the year, the school can go and purchase what items they need.
Oh, that sounds like an amazing and well-rounded program.
Right.
Now, Ingalls, y'all have provided robust support to the community for so many years now. We're talking high school athletics, college athletics, and everything in between. It does beg the fundamental question, why? Why is it so critical for y'all?
Well, it's not just sports, but it's also educational programs. But we're the home team. Ingalls is your hometown grocery market. So you are also supporting our home teams.
Of course.
It's really important for us to be a part of that community. We love being part of that, and we're blessed to be able to do that. Lots of those students work at our stores or graduated from those schools. We see these people in church. We see these people at work. This is a really big deal for us. Might be a big company to look at us from the outside in, but we like being beacons in our own communities.
Y'all are beacons indeed. All outstanding work. And Melissa, very quickly, you and I both know no great game is complete without delicious, mouthwatering good food. What are some of the most popular items on y'all's menu?
Oh my goodness, you have to start off with a wonderful boar's head sub, just absolutely good with all the trimmings, great fried chicken, all the sides you could possibly want, a wonderful salad bar, a wing bar, olive bar. I mean, I don't know if I could decide. I just have to go get a big old wheelbarrow and take it all there, plus all the things you need like chips and drinks and paper plates. One-stop shopping place for all your tailgating.
All fantastic work indeed. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for your time here today.
Thank you, Nelson.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're watching the myspot.nc.gov halftime report. Get protected this holiday season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
I'm here with the North Carolina High School Athletic Association Commissioner Q Tucker. Commissioner Tucker, this is the best time of the year, the football state championships.
Well, it really is. That's the greatness of what we do, is that there is a beginning, there's an ending, and we know that a lot of stuff happens in between the beginning and the ending. And typically for us, it's good because we're education-based athletics. And so we're trying to teach lessons.
What were the big points of emphasis for the association this year?
It starts obviously with the sportsmanship piece. We just continue to focus on that. Each team that participates in our state championships, we give a sportsmanship award because we want not only those individuals to know it, but we want the general public to know our emphasis on good sportsmanship. And then, of course, you know, all the other core values that come along with just trying to help them balance academics and athletics.
Can you give any insight to what next year will look like with the changes in classification?
We have those 8 classes now that the schools voted that they wanted to have. So we've got those set. They're out there for public consumption. And now our realignment committee is at work trying to put together that first draft of conferences to see if our membership will be pleased with where they will land. We will have a lot of conferences that will have multiple classes within them, which will be very, very different. So this next alignment, 25 through 29, is really historic because it's unlike anything we've done since we started classifying schools.
We had devastating storms this season. What struck you about the resilience of those affected?
Everybody who is involved in high school athletics, they work together to try to figure out a way to not only get back on the playing field, but they reached out to help their neighbors. They are bouncing back. Now, many of them are still struggling with where they're living, how they're going to make it through the coldness of this winter. But the resilience is there. And I'm as proud of those people in the West as I've ever been.
You have the opportunity to be one of the first down on the field to greet the state championship winner. What is that moment like for you?
You see the tears of joy. You present those awards to those young people. Coaches are excited. That's great. But at the same time, that runner-up team, yes, they are tears of defeat. But you know what, Jay? They're winners too, to say, hey, you gave it your best shot. Congratulations on a great year, a great season. That's special to me. And that's really why I continue to do what I do.
We appreciate your time, Commissioner Tucker, and thank you for all you do for high school athletics.
Thank you very much, Jay.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in North Carolina because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
No tremendous surprises at the half stylistically related to these two teams, and Tarboro effective in execution, leading it by a count of 18-3. As we welcome you back to Raleigh, and you glance back at this first half, one more half of football when it comes to the Class A championship.
Yeah, and you think about it. Tarboro, they're doing what they do best. They run the ball. I think it's 230 yards rushing, one pass attempt for zero yards, but that's what they do. And they're just proving it out right now, JP. They are who we thought they were.
Well, so will these images. They'll prove exactly who they are. You're going to see a number of different individuals making their mark out of that Tarboro backfield.
Yeah, there he is coming right in your living room, ladies and gentlemen. He's over 100 yards at Satterfield. He's running downhill about 120 yards, and then you have Everett. All of them have scored at one touchdown, a touchdown apiece, and combined they're over 3,000 yards. And here we have defensively seemingly a good play, but came down great with the receiver from Corvian there.
Yeah, one of the many plays Noah Best has been in the thick of. This was the solid moment in the kicking game, only scoring so far for Corvian, and Tarboro went back to work offensively.
Yeah, and here they come right at you. I love the big fellas up front. They're finding work. They're making blocks. Unselfish play.
Rushing touchdown for McDowell Moore, and you said it, that three-headed monster they talked so much about, all contributing.
Yeah, weaving his way through. He's accustomed to doing that, 20 touchdowns. This young man is making his name.
Capped with Satterfield when all was said and done. Quick glance at the stats. What jumps out?
Yeah, once again, 238 yards rushing. Corvian does what they do, 150 yards passing. Penalties are down. Nothing too, big to be concerned about, but Tarboro is doing what they do.
All right, time to go field side once more. We have a chance to visit with the coach. Here is Hannah.
Well, Coach, how do you match the physicality and the intensity of Tarboro in the second half?
We just got to come out and play our football. They came out physical, like you said, and we didn't. We just have to play our football. We didn't this half. We got 24 minutes to do it.
You told me this week, in order to be the man, you have to play like the man. What was the message in the locker room to reignite this fight?
Exactly that. Exactly that. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, they're beating us up, but we just got to come out and play football.
Well, thank you, Coach. Best of luck in the second half.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Guys.
Well, he knows there's a lot of football left to settle the Class A championship. Third quarter, right around the corner.
I've been watching. I'm like, you need to go over and go. I got time. Let's go. They ain't ready for a second half yet. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to make the play. Ain't no time to play. Let's go. It's all attitude.
Well, congratulations already in order from the state of North Carolina, Grimsley Whirlies. Of course, you saw West Charlotte here in Raleigh a little bit earlier today get the job done against the 71st Falcons. And we head to the third quarter between Tarboro and Corvian Community. His team looking to get back on top. You know, this is the 8th straight season that it's ended at the state championship, but it was Mount Airy the last 2 years after Tarboro had won 2 in a row of their own against East Surrey and Mitchell. You think about what it means to this group from Corvian Community to be here for the very first time. But you heard it in the words of the head coach. Not about being here for this group. They think that they can turn things around in the second half, and they're in pursuit of a championship.
Yeah, and it's going to have to start right here, JP. You know, they're in a street fight right now. And, you know, no holds barred. They're going to have to pull out all the stops and really, really dig deep and fight hard because this Tarboro team isn't going anywhere. This is old hat for them. They're going to run the ball. You know, they had one pass attempt. It was an attempt. It was a pretty good attempt, but they're going to run the football, JP. And Corvian's going to have to score right here if they want to increase their chances to win in this game and also to build some confidence and get some momentum going for themselves.
Well, the wind wreaking havoc with the football on this 43-degree North Carolina afternoon here in Raleigh. But eventually, the Roan Law kickoff has us underway in the third. A little bit of trouble picking it up initially. Sometimes that can create something. In this case, it only allowed the purple jerseys to get there quicker, and the return is to the 13-yard line. We should say, by the way, we told you about the champions that have already been crowned. You see what's about to happen here. Monroe and Northeastern coming up, 14-0, 15-0, respectively, in a 2A title game tonight at 6:30. That one happening over in Chapel Hill. So stay tuned to the stations around North Carolina and beyond, as that will cap the championship environment. What can you say about A.J. Jackson's first half when you consider these numbers?
Yeah, I mean, that's a respectable half. You know, he has 100 yards passing already, 8 completions, 0 touchdowns. They're going to have to get something going right now. They're going to have to score to cement in their own mind that they can move the ball against this Tarboro defense.
Talk about how he's become a vocal leader, the heart and soul, as we told you at the start of things, of this group. In fact, you know, he was the guy that looked at the guy that they affectionately term Uncle Chris, who you heard from coming out of the locker room, and he said, you know, I look forward to having you as my coach. And at that point, he said, you know, after all that success in Ohio, haven't taken the job yet. He said, yeah, but we know you will. He was one of the driving forces in bringing the head man to Corvian. And he goes back out there, tries to see if they can close this storybook run with a championship. You know, he ended up having so much success, 7 state championships as part of in Ohio environment-wise, and now bringing that level of success and that story here. And we said it's so much of the coaching staff with him. He found Chris Peavy already on the staff, and Jamil Smith of Wake Forest fame. Chris Peavy was All-American. Charlotte already on the staff. He brought in those that Hannah was telling you about earlier, including 2 members of his own family right there in his household, his sons. And, you know, it has all come together as a pretty impressive formula to get them to this point. But this becomes a key third quarter drive if they're going to fulfill the dream, and you know, much of it's probably going to be relying upon Noah Best as well.
Yeah, Noah Best is going to have to get going. They really need to establish the run. You can see them coming out doing that because that's going to open up play action, and it's going to open up the corners. It's going to open up over top that they can get those deep balls going. And so this is a very important drive for Corvian right
now. Toss this direction. A seam for Johnson, and he's up to the 41-yard line. That's going to be enough for a first down. You can move the chains. Another tremendous play call.
Yeah, just kind of like a speed option. Got a blocker out front. And, you know, they're staying ahead of the chains, JP. That's awesome. You know, they got to keep it moving. Just make sure they stay within themselves. Don't try and do something extraordinary.
Do it with a hammer. It's first down, but this one's blown up right away into the backfield and able to disrupt enough to provide the loss is Josiah Dickens once again.
Yeah, and defensively, Tarboro saying, okay, enough is enough. You're trying to run the ball. That's what we do. Great play there by Dickens and shedding that block and making the play in the back.
Josiah Dickens trying to set the tone defensively, has him behind the sticks at second, and looks like it's going to be a long 12. Yeah, the kids were the draw for the head coach at Corvian. He said the other thing was the weather. Of course, he's got more like Ohio weather here today, right? And in terms of the temperatures. So those were the two things that helped him make his decision that he was going to work his way to the Carolinas. Talented players like Noah Best, a big part of this thing. He talked about blue skies and sunshine. And yet here he is in familiar weather, as is the case on both sidelines in many ways, trying to cap off a deep into December championship run today. Underway in the third quarter to that end for Tarboro and Corvian Community. First-time participants against the 8 consecutive trips of the Vikings. And this is going to be out of bounds near side. That was A.J. Jackson calling his own number. And he gets beyond the sticks. You can move the chains. Another Hamrick's first down. This beginning to be methodical.
There you go. So far, so good. You know, they're mixing up a little bit inside, outside zone, keeping the chains moving the ball down the field. Now it's going to get tougher the shorter the field gets. The closer you get to the red zone, the closer it is and tougher it becomes because you don't have as much room to work with.
Hamrick's first down play coming for A.J. Jackson. Turn, give that off to Best, and we told you what a tremendous player he is. He goes off the left side. You think about the family, and it's true on both sides, but Corvian's coaching staff saying it, that the senior leadership, the close-knit nature of this group, and all those connections that last a lifetime, that today the chapter ends either way, whether it ends positively or it ends negatively. Going to be an emotional ending because it is the closing stanza of what has been just a tremendous lifetime run.
Yeah, and they've had a great run this year. They're undefeated right now, unscathed, and they find themselves in a position that I'm sure they hadn't found themselves in this year, having to play from behind.
Looking for a deep shot here down the right side. It was not to be, a little too strong, and here comes another. Same thing true when you think about the purple and gold, you know, Coach Craddock and this group of seniors and what they're trying to finish off. There's something about it's going to come to an end either way here that makes these next 2 12-minute quarters, you know, highly volatile on so many levels.
Yeah, finality to it. And for the seniors, you know, this may be their last chance at a championship, whether they go on to play at another level or not. You know, how often do you get an opportunity to play for a championship in any level, in any sport? And so they have to capitalize on this.
Inside the 35, down around the 32-yard line. That's going to be another Hamrick's first down. Major third down conversion there. You know, you track those throughout the day. It's a group that to this point, they are 4 of 9 on third downs, and this is a big one.
Yeah, they're giving Tarboro a little dose of their own medicine, JP, just running downhill, and that's what you got to do to establish that run game. Once again, that's going to open up the play-action pass over top for.
Again, because of the missed extra point scenario and the inability to secure the 2-point conversion, this is a 2-possession game. It could become a 1-possession game if things go well at the end of this drive. Noah Best out of bounds near the marker, but, you know, you take a look at 18-10, you would simply need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. You take a look at taking care of that piece of business now, you'd be within 7. This is a consequential drive because it makes it a right there moment for Corvian.
Certainly does, and you can best believe that Coach Emil is saying that, hey, fellas, let's do what we do. We knew it was going to be a street fight coming into it. Let's settle down. Let's methodically drive the ball down the field. And this is working out perfectly right now for Corvian. It's just as they drew it up. Let's go down and score and hopefully get a 3 and out.
Just atop that ACC logo, it is in the thick of the trenches where this battle's taking place. And on a second down and short, this is going to be spotted right at the marker. They're going to turn around and give it a glance here. Is another third down coming? It looks to be. Going to be third down and a long one. Just converted on a 5th out of 10 with those statistics updating in real time for us. So successful half the time. Tarboro the same, but 2 of 4. It's been 5 effective conversions. Can they make it 6? Wow. Difficulty on this for A.J. Jackson, and now it's going to be 4th and a little more.
That was tough. It looks like it was there. Not sure if he was going to pull that, but definitely had he given it to the running back, it would have been a first down. Not sure what happened there. Did he mishandle it? Oh, yeah, he just slipped. See, that was a give read. Had he given it, that would have been, you know, a first down there. But, hey, you know, you make those judgment calls. He's been doing it all year, and they've been successful with it.
Now needing a 4th down conversion. 4th and 4. Best. Why not? Inside the red zone at the 14-yard line. Here is a OneCare NC red zone chance coming up after the Hamrick's first down. What a play designed here.
Yeah, you trust your big players to make big plays in big moments. And right there we see a throw and catch to the young man who they've been depending on all year, JP, and that was a great throw and catch.
So the drive continues at the 6 and change mark. Again, another OneCare NC red zone chance. Cam Johnson down near the 12-yard line. What an important drive for Corvian community. And what it would serve to do in terms of the tightening of this game. And knocking on the doorstep of 50 of his own on 12 carries. Workman-like day for Cam Johnson so far.
Yeah, I saw in the Western Regional Championship, JP, they on the hash and they put 3 receivers into the boundary and split a wide out, on the numbers on the opposite side and ran a slant and it was wide open. So that maybe look to do something like that. If Coach Emil is going to, just kind of looking at schemes, because sometimes you have to scheme up a team in order to be successful.
Well, to that end, another 3rd down set up here. This one resting on the 8-yard line. Number of 3rd and 4th down conversions on this drive. One more would set up a 1st and goal. If it goes beyond that, may close the deal on an extended drive, another extended drive for this crew. Cardinals have it down inside the 4 to the 3-yard line, and that looks to be enough to move them again.
Yeah, and once again, you're gonna look at schemes. And so they had trips out to the left side, and you send that back in motion, making it quads. And so you have to honor that. And he ran right in the spot where that defender would have been. So that was a great scheme right there, and it keeps the drive alive. They're at the 3-yard line, and hopefully, if you're Corvian looking at, we can go down and score, kick, hold them, get the ball again, and it's a totally new ball game after that, JP.
1st down goal. Keeping it himself. Met near the goal line, and they will say touchdown. You wondered if he was able to break the plane, and both officials, I think, were trying to look through traffic to make eye contact with one another just to confirm it. It is, in fact, a Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown. A.J. Jackson carries it home.
Yeah, and you just run that jet sweep. You fake the sweep, and he's just read that defensive end right there. It was a great read, and he just barely made it in, but he made it in.
Had the presence of mind to hold the football on out there across the plane, and they will go ahead and kick the extra point here in an effort to make it an 8-point contest. Cooper Peterson, straight up and through. He had a field goal a bit earlier in the contest. Now there's a Corvian touchdown to go with it. And it is a 1-possession game once more.
When it comes to delivering high quality, affordable health care, relationships matter. And after 90 years, Blue Cross
these two teams just yet. Here's the McIver Law Firm scoring summary. The time of possession up over 7 minutes for a second time on these scoring drives. It really grabs your attention there. Capped with the 3-yard rush by Jackson.
That's amazing. You don't see that at any level. Almost 8 minutes. They held the ball for the entire quarter, and they scored to cap it off. I mean, this is lining up exactly in their wheelhouse.
18 plays. Here comes the onside. That's touched by Tarboro and still alive. Can they secure it before it goes out of bounds? Tossed back in to the Vikings. That was as close as you can come to snatching away an onside without grabbing it.
I'm telling you, that would have been perfect. I mean, picture perfect. It was well timed. It kind of caught them off guard. It took that crazy bounce right there at the end, and it's almost like trying to grab a greased, squirrel or something, man. It's like you're moving in slow motion.
Recover the ball inbounds. First down, Tarboro.
Tarboro football, and how much does Cooper Peterson's stock go up on a moment like that? There are a lot of places where they would like to have the services of an individual who can pull that off as effectively as he just did, just right out of the grasp of a couple of his players, Best being one of those, and then another look on the sideline. So Tarboro has it up near midfield. .45 and down inside it to the 43-yard line. Well, it comes down now to that three-headed monster they talk so much about, this group of upperclassmen that are looking to finish one off with a title for the first time in a few years. McDowell Moore, you've heard from Satterfield, you've heard from Everett.
Yeah.
But just going to be interesting to see if Corvian can find a way to slow their roll.
Yeah, this young man runs so hard. I mean, we see why he's the featured back.
We'll go back to that statement you made earlier in the contest, and it's showing itself on this drive as they're near Hamrick's first down again here. You have to honor everything.
You do.
You called it a shell game.
That's right, because you just never know where the ball is going to end up. And if you try to guess where it is, if you guess right, fantastic. But most times you're not going to guess right, JP. So you just have to honor your keys, maintain gap control, keep your shoulders square, and hit the next threat that comes at you.
And it's not about the 3 or 4 yards you get every time, although you'll take it. Every now and again, you're able to bust one of those big ones like we saw earlier in the contest. This had the potential of being that, but Everett is gathered up, not before he moves the chains again. Hamrick's first down to the 26-yard line.
I tell you something, you just never know. This kid, he runs hard. He's about to run through the referee right there, JP. Nothing's going to stop him. He's running through arm tackles, and he's not going to be denied. But that's that determination. They will not be denied, and they have to score here on this drive, which almost didn't happen because of that onside kick, but you have to capitalize on this moment if you're Tarboro.
Hamrick's first down play coming. Great brands, incredible prices. Shop Hamrick's today. A couple of quick first downs. And a big spin for McDowell Moore to the 21 or 22-yard line. Works its way to the near side, and time winding a little further down, 2:22 to go. He's looking up at that scoreboard, seeing what could be on the horizon for his team. You think about all the battles over the years, just the level of experience that belongs to this group in purple, and they're putting it on display right here.
No panic. Just simply, hey, let's do what we do. Same set, same formation, little fullback dive. And, they're just grinding away, JP.
Stacked up this time around. Satterfield, as he tried to work his way through the one-care NC red zone. What'd you see here?
Yeah, I'm looking at that defensive front. See how they just kind of bunch up? Some of the linemen get a little bit too high, but they are just clogging up that middle, and that's how you stop that fullback trap. You got to plug up those A gaps and force them to bounce it outside.
Christian Evans came flying out of there, out of nowhere. Nathaniel Kaba, you see him on your screen there just a moment ago. Tarboro T facing a third down, and it will be McDowell Moore, and he's got more than enough to move the chains with a Hamrick's first down.
There you go. They clog up the A gaps, you bounce to the B gap. They clog up the B, you bounce to the C, and there you have it. It's just so tough so difficult. You know, you got 2 extra blockers there in the backs coming downhill. They just outnumber you and overwhelm you at that point of contact, JP. And, 112 yards right now with 1 touchdown. That clock continues to run. It's hard to stop.
And it grinds you out after you've done such good work offensively to come right back and watch it just methodically work its way down the field. How about a 100-yard night already for Cam McDowell-Moore? Tarboro taking their time as we are inside the final minute of the 3rd quarter. This offensive approach will make it pass rapidly.
Exactly. Wow.
Still up. Again. Into the end zone. Mason Satterfield one more time. That's a Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown for Satterfield and company. And Tarboro answers right back.
And you know what's got to be so frustrating? It takes 7 minutes for Corvian to go down the field and score, and in 4 minutes, and they're just running the ball straight downhill, that little fullback dive, the trap, whatever you want to call it. They're coming downhill right now, and half the time they score and go the length of the field they need to.
Vikings extend the lead to 24-10. Everything having come in sixes so far, and now trying for the 2-point play. The offense stays out there. Couple of missed extra points, 1 2-point try that was not to be. This time around, it's going to be tossed at around the 4-yard line, but that is going to be a try that will not be converted upon. Guess who was on the scene to make sure nothing further? Noah Best was there. Walk us through this TD.
Yeah, here you go. They're coming right downhill, fullback dive right into your living room.
(24-10) with a half minute remaining in this 3rd quarter. The McIver Law Firm scoring summary indicating just how quickly Tarboro was able to get the job done.
Yeah, 7 plays. They go 46 yards. And keep in mind, the clock continues to run when they have the ball because they run the ball. And JP, has got to be so frustrating for Corvian right now, but you got to be able to stop that 3-headed monster.
Hat trick for Mason Satterfield in terms of his ability to find the end zone this afternoon. He will be one of the main reasons if Tarboro returns to championship glory here in 2024, the guy wearing jersey number 24. Turn for Best up to the 36-yard line. Well, Corvian needs to look no further than their most recent drive for inspiration.
Yeah.
Of course, they'd like to do it a little quicker this time.
Yeah, I was going to say, they there's got to be a sense of urgency because, Tarboro is going to eat the clock up, and they have these methodical drives, which from an offensive perspective, you love it. Okay, we can keep the ball, we can possess it, eat up most of the clock. But when they're throwing the ball, keep in mind, right? Tarboro is running, and they just threw it on the 2-point conversion. But when you can do that running the ball, it frustrates you to no end.
Well, the failed 2-point conversion leaves this at a 14-point game. Keep that in mind as Corvian Community goes to work. Cardinals, as this comes near side, will have it up at the 45-yard line. That's a quick toss into the grasp of Doug Quarles III. Key playmakers on the offensive side of things. One of the key seniors. So much talk about this group of seniors and the leadership they provided. 13 seniors for this program that helped get things started in their 10th grade seasons just to bring the program to life. And he's one of them as he has it into a 2nd and manageable. It's 2nd and 1. Screen to Best. Quickly off of those potential disruptions and able to make the stop. I mean, somebody there wearing purple at all times, it seems.
Yeah, great ball pursuit. They're relentlessly going after the ball. I mean, it's amazing, JP, how well coached this team is.
That's Jalen Farr McNair. He had 680-plus yards on 22 punt returns and 6 punts returned for a touchdown this year, in addition to his good work on the defensive side. And this defensive stop takes us to the 4th and final period of the 2024 Class A season. Final stanza between Tarboro and Corvian Community coming up on the other side of the break.
Liquor, add car keys, and it's a killer.
There's really no excuse for drunk driving. If you've been injured by a drunk driver, bring your case to us.
We're attorneys Tatum and Atkinson, the heavy hitters.
And we hit drunk drivers hard.
Wanted under law 0804.
Well, 111 seasons of high school football in the state of North Carolina. This one, 2024, coming down to 4 champions crowned this weekend. 24 points on the board for Tarboro in an effort to become one of those in 2024. We'll see if it sticks. 4th quarter underway. Corvian on the move, down a couple of scores. We just saw an extended drive by this group. The question, can the Cardinals score a little quicker, give themselves time to find a way to equalize and battle from behind here in the 4th. They've got the playmakers to do it. You saw A.J. Jackson there move the chains. That is a Carolina Ford Dealers first down as we work into Tarboro territory at the 49-yard line. Cardinals on the move. And that'll help. Dumped off to Bronson McAdoo. First time we've called his name today, B.J. McAdoo, the junior involved.
Yeah, so, it's just a little, they flooded the zone, just roll out to that side. He's just taking his pick. And that was a great throw and catch. He gets up the field. And I'm looking at the 3rd quarter stats here, JP, and I'll tell you something. If I were to tell you that one team possessed the ball 7 minutes longer than the other team, who's winning the game? You'd automatically think the team that had the ball the longest, but that's not the case with these two.
Not so in this scenario with how quickly Tarboro has scored. And the defense swarming here will drop Jackson for a loss just behind the myspot.nc.gov first down. Cole Craddock gets in there. Hey, that's a familiar name in Tarboro colors, right?
That's right.
Another moment for Cole Craddock, the senior, of course, the son the head coach, one of 4 kids. He talked about how he'd watched the other coaches on his staff coach their sons over the years and how that inspired him. He said, really, on the field, I'm a coach, and then I drive the short distance home from the stadium, and you become dad, but it's something they share together. He was a little emotional talking about it, as he should be, and he and that senior group trying to bring dad a latest title here in 2024. Jackson on second down. Elusive. Now he's going to try to put one in behind the D. Best with a lunging snag. What a play on both fronts. This toss and catch. Things of beauty.
Once again, you need your big players to make big plays and big moments, and this right here is a good throw and catch. And, great concentration. The ball looked like it may have been tipped by the defender, but Best corrals that ball in, putting his team in a position to score again here in the red zone.
Yeah, you made a request that they score a little more quickly. Maybe about to happen. Here's Jackson, but too many Vikings there swarming to the football, as it is the 9-yard line where this comes to a halt. Flag coming in here as activity picks up inside the red zone once more. Our red zone opportunities continue to be sponsored by One Care NC throughout the course of this championship weekend. Let's hear what this penalty is going to be, as it'll determine how deep into the red zone Corvian really is going to be here.
Sideline warning on the offense. That's their first, second down.
Okay, no changes here, just a warning on the sideline for Corvian community.
Yeah, coaches, just get a little intense and heated. They want to get close to the action there, and it was just a sideline warning, so no harm, no foul. But if it happens again, it will then be a penalty.
Corvian can get something done right here, Eric. Wow. Talking about a one-score game once more. They got a few downs to get it done. 2nd and goal from the 8. A.J. Jackson cannot get away. Too many purple jerseys there, and they finally wrestle him to the turf. It was Bridgers in the end. Flags came in from everywhere, so we'll see what the call is, but this was a swarm of Vikings.
Yeah, it looks like he grabbed him around his helmet, and so they're going to call it there. But, it's kind of predictable when, they had that tight trips on the right side and sent the back in motion, making it quads. They've run probably 80% of the time. So Tarboro just played that really nice. It looks like they got up around the helmet, though, so it could cost them.
I should be more accurate and specific.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. Half distance to the goal.
As you said, the face mask. Suppose I should be more accurate and specific. It was probably a full loaded boat of Vikings as opposed to a swarm of them that worked their way there. But you said it, the face mask going to make the difference here. Inside the 5 and down to the 4-yard line. Here is the Cardinals' moment on the doorstep here, trying to make this real interesting in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, they're going to have to put it in, punch it in, because we know what Tarboro is capable of doing in a short, space of time. And so if they could get it in here and they get them to stop, they play right to the hand.
Jump ball. And that's where those sizable receivers make a difference. The question is, which way is the penalty going to be assessed? Will it be a push-off for Quarles, who brought it home, or would it be the defensive variety, which would allow this to stand? This is a consequential call forthcoming.
Yeah, it looks like it may get a push-off offensively. Not too sure, but it looks like he got a little extra space.
Seemed to be the initial thought in everybody's mind, and our officials are talking it over. I think the other reading of the tea leaves available to you here is the offense starting to back up just a little bit. But there was a further discussion than you thought there might be there. Of course, a couple of flags coming in from different angles. Did they see the same thing? Our referee, Sean Delaney, here.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. Pass interference on the offense. Roughing the passer on the defense. Those penalties offset. We'll replay 2nd down.
As it turns out, they saw something different in a couple of different locations. Walk us through this play.
Indeed. Well, it never happened, right? So they were going to call pass interference here, offensive pass interference to get that space. And, unfortunately, maybe a little overzealous in the backfield, roughing the passer. So the good news is it wiped it out. Didn't happen.
Second
Bad
and
news,
goal.
they get a try again.
striving toward the end zone and down at the 1 yard line. You did see a weapon that Corvian has at his disposal, though. Those 6'5" wide receivers can make a major difference.
Absolutely. Yeah, and when you get down around the goal line especially, just kind of throw a jump ball and let them do what they do and use their height as an advantage.
Real test for the Tarboro secondary for sure. Of course, close proximity like this, all kind of options available to you. It's going to be Johnson again, and no indication just yet. It seems he was stopped. McDowell, Moore, and company get in there. 3rd and goal coming.
Whew, that's a huge play, JP. But once again, you may want to just throw the ball up, jump ball. And so there it is. Tarboro saying, hey, we are going to take up those A gaps and not let you in.
So the 3rd down play fails. 4th down actually coming here at the 1 yard line. In many ways, and it appears timeout's going to be called for, knowing how critical this play is. Cardinals going to burn a timeout. We will take it as well.
This is the first of the half.
A 4th down upon which in many ways the ball game hangs when you return to Raleigh. (24-10), but this game much tighter at the moment than the scoreboard indicates. Setting up for a 4th and goal from the 1 yard line. Corvian knocking on the doorstep. His team really right now defensively in a position to perhaps seal it right here. This, in many ways, is the ball game if Corvian is to keep hopes alive right here.
I think so, yeah. They're going to have to score right here, JP. I mean, all stops up. Get your best play, and it's got to be right now.
A.J. Jackson awaits the snap. He's going to toss it. Best lunges for the end zone, and he's there. Hope does remain. In fact, it springs eternal for the Cardinals now. Pending the extra point, they will be within 7.
And so, if we look at this play again, we see that it's scheme. They put trips on one side, and they run speed back to that one receiver side, and it puts that defender on the island. He has to make a decision. You take the quarterback, you pitch it. If he goes to the pitch, the quarterback is going to run. So it puts him in a no-win situation, and it worked because the ball is in the hands of one of their best players.
Had to have it. Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown for the Cardinals, and Noah Best, who, as we said, shows up on the roster as just a little bit of everything. Ends up with a touchdown that is everything for the champions out of the West right now. The question, is there more in the tank? There's certainly a lot of time left, almost an eternity, nearly 9 minutes left to play.
And every possession is key, JP, but they definitely need it here. See, once again, we have Jackson and Best in the backfield, and they're reading that defensive end, number 7 right there. So he collapsed down, and number 6, he almost made a great play there, Everett. But, once again, the best play, big players make big plays and big moments.
A good thing for Noah Best. He bounced off in the right direction and found the end zone. Here comes an important Ron Law kickoff as you consider what this drive means to the Class A championship game. Tarboro seeing its high watermark advantage dissipate across the course of this second half. And now with 8:49 to play after this 10-play, 64-yard drive. That's half the time. That's the 7-minute right earlier. As McIver Law Firm brings us our scoring summary but it was what needed to happen for the Cardinals.
It sure does. Now, this is an all-important kickoff. Will they try an onside kick here, or are they going to kick it deep and make them go the level of the field?
Roland Law kickoffs and onside again. They nearly got this a moment ago. Looks like they had it here, but there's a flag down. Perhaps someone just passed the kicker a little too soon.
Oh, wow.
They got it.
They did.
Almost had it before.
Oh, my.
Here comes the call.
Dead ball, encroachment on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Replay the free kick.
Boy, that's tough.
That was huge.
And
that was a game changer.
How impressive is the young kicker, Cooper Peterson, and what he's been able to do in the kicking game? Has knocked a field goal through tonight. And this is the second onside. He has executed perfectly. When you look at his role, perfect and perfect again.
He's done what he needs to do. I mean, the hop comes at the right time. We're right about the 10 yards, and they had a chance to recover.
That's why he'll be kicking at the next level. He just kind of punches this into some open space, but that's going to go out of bounds. A flag on this, and what looked like it may very well be Cardinals football ends up being a really good field position for Tarboro now.
Yeah, you have to manage those big moments, and that could have been a huge momentum swing. But once again, they hadn't stopped Tarboro all day. They have to be able to
Free
do it
kick
right here.
infraction, kick out of bounds. Penalty enforced 5 yards from the out of bounds spot. First down.
Well, 8:49 to play. You're Tarboro. You're on the verge of, after being here 8 times in a row.
Correction. 25 yards from the spot of the kick. Places the ball at the 40. First down.
Making sure we're all on the same page. You think about what a difference that made field position-wise. But let's go inside the mind of the Tarboro coaching staff here. You're Tarboro. You have the football with the lead. 8:49 to play. What's the thought process?
Yeah,
right now?
this is going to sound strange, right? They've scored in 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Do you tell them, hey, slow down, try not to score as fast? Eat up some more of that clock. And once again, this offense is potent. I mean, they are moving down here. They're kind of doing what they want to.
Powell, give off. Nice job dodging the initial stoppage and working his way down the sideline for a TD. Didn't probably want it that fast, but you'll take it when it goes on the scoreboard. To your point, Cameron McDowell Moore, nobody's stopping him until he finds a Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown. One play, all that's needed for Tarboro to take those points right back.
So it goes to show you, I don't know what I'm talking about. Look at that. He gets downhill. And this is just a player making a play. He outruns the defense. He tight ropes that sideline. He's like, will not be denied. Great run by that young man. And I tell you something, JP, he can see it. He can sense it. He can smell it. He's going to do all he can to make sure that title comes back to Tarboro.
Looked like he knew where the tape was as well as he worked his way across the goal line. I don't know if you can even call it a drive. What a play for Tarboro as they have once again answered the challenge from the Cardinals. This has been the only trouble for the Vikings today, and that's the point after try. On this occasion, it is turned aside once more, but this touchdown going to make it a little tougher on the crew out of the Charlotte area as Tarboro reminds you how much trouble can come out of the tee. Tarboro remaining out front and holding the Cardinals at arm's length with another touchdown. Here's the scoring drive. Took just a single play to March 60 on the McIver Law Firm scoring summary. McIver Law Firm sponsoring all of our scoring summaries here in the Class A title game. So many different weapons Tarboro can come at you with.
Who needs to kick an extra point where you can just score touchdowns, right? Most teams are going to be chasing those points that they miss on the extra point, but Tarboro's just like, you know what? Let's just go out and score. Don't worry about it.
Go keep scoring. Find themselves up a couple again here. Well, the challenge for the Cardinals, what it was just a few minutes of football action ago. But every trade of a touchdown with their opponents right now means a little less time to work with. Here's Best. He was a big part of that 4th down touchdown, which kept Pope alive at the time. He'll only return this to the 17 or 18-yard line, covered well by the Vikings. Season winding down. And you know A.J. Jackson has it within him. You look at the numbers he's put together so far tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take your hat off to the young man. 184 yards. The only stat or graphic that jumps out to me right now is that 0 touchdowns. He's got to find a way to get some points on the board for his team.
Toss one, perhaps. A quick one would be nice for the Cardinals from their perspective of things. You see the brain trust on both sidelines working ahead of the opening of this drive. Oh, what a season it's been for these two teams. Very different angles from which to get here. All coming down to this. Speaking of tossing one to the skies, but this one's picked off. It appeared it's going to drop to the turf after all. Disrupted, I think, coming down by running into his own guy, and that's the only thing that kept McDowell Moore from adding an interception to his stat line.
Yeah, how poetic would that have been for him just to score a touchdown, then come back and score another pick 6? But yeah, he just lost the handle. Sorry, as he's going to the ground. So yeah, you gotta take your hats off to that young man.
Looks like it's that Jalen Farr McNair still down on the turf there momentarily. He's going to be helped up by a couple of teammates. Looks like he's good to go, but two's been special, has he not, Eric?
Oh, he certainly has, JP. I mean, he's doing on both sides of the ball. We talk about this before kickoff, that Ironman football. He's not coming off the field. And, you may see that start to play out in some of these young men as they start to cramp because they're getting a little dehydrated. And, but that's just the nature of the game when you're playing Ironman football, going both ways.
You can see a little bit slower coming off this time. 2nd down 10 from the 18-yard line. Season winding down. Class A championship winding down here at NC State in Raleigh, North Carolina. A.J. Jackson. Pocket holds for him to dance around back there a while, but he's eventually going to be swallowed up. And that was for a loss. Just nobody open downfield. That, in many ways, among those coverage sacks you so often talk about.
Yeah, and there's Powell once again, imposing his will on the defensive side right now with a pretty good rush. Just maintaining lane integrity and then just constricting on him. He has nowhere to go, so he had to go down for a sack.
Powell, the first there, as you said. Davis provided the help when all was said and done. And credit Dal Moore and Biggs and Everett and those guys who have made it tough to find an open man for A.J. Jackson tonight. I keep saying tonight. It's been this afternoon, but daylight giving way to darkness and the bright stadium lights here at Carter Finley now prevalent. A reminder that we're working into the depths of the evening. What a beautiful location for these high school athletes. Something they're going to remember for a lifetime, playing in this environment, an ACC environment. That true both here and at Keenan, where the final championship game will take place a little later tonight. Also on our Sinclair family of networks. Check your local listings around the state. Make sure you don't miss the 4th and final championship game, which is coming up scheduled for a 6:30 kick between Monroe and Northeastern to cap the weekend. Well, knowing that it's in the hands of his defense. He reminded us Coach Craddock that he's a defensive-minded guy. So much talk about the Tarboro T, but defense had always been his passion as a DC before he became a head coach. And they're looking for a fourth down stop here that would all but begin the celebration. Looked to be it, able to load up and fire away after all, and Best nearly came away with a miraculous catch. He got in behind all the bodies that were colliding and just couldn't quite bring it home.
Yeah, trying to keep that drive alive, doing all he can. You see Jackson scrambling right there. He's looking deep, and he sees that number 5, and he's going to him and almost just beyond his reach. And he's gonna hate that he missed that. But it was a great try, for both of them.
And the throw was rushed for one reason.
There you go, Mr. Craddock. There you go.
Worked his way into the backfield one more time, trying to make it another family celebration type scenario. Getting tougher now on the scoreboard and with the timing. You can see that in the faces on the Cardinals side of things. All hope not lost, but Tarboro in a position certainly to make it difficult now, as they will line up starting this drive in the Care NC red zone.
Yeah, and credit Coach Emils, for going for it. I mean, deep in his own territory, he's saying, hey, I want to give my guys an opportunity to go out and win this. And he did.
So many good plays made by Best and company tonight. It's been an impressive run this year. I mean, you think about it. If this ends where it looks like it's going to for Corvian, and there's a lot of time left for Corvian here as well. We've seen stranger things in the sport, but trending toward a Tarboro celebration here. What they've done, knocking off the 1 seed, going into Mountain Heritage, what they were able to do on the road, it's been impressive. But Tarboro has been that for a decade or so now when it comes to these state championship environments. And the latest of McDowell Moore's touchdowns going to run the gap a little wider.
Yeah, and this makes it hard, JP, at the end of the game in the fourth quarter when you've been leaned on, all game. Those big fellas up front, they're coming downhill, they're trapping, they're pulling, they're coming out of the backfield. It seems like they're coming from everywhere. It makes it hard. When you run as hard as this young man does, you got to take your hats off to him because he will not be denied, and he hadn't been denied all night.
Cameron McDowell Moore, the hat trick. He's the first on either side to secure for himself a trio of touchdowns. Made the comment the last time they lined up for one of these, this has been the only trouble spot tonight. What's happened after the touchdowns, but if you stack enough of those together, it's of little consequence. Rolling out, keeping it himself, and for the first time, there's a conversion. Tyler Powell carries it in, and that'll run it to 38-17.
Yeah, there you go. It's and they've been setting this up all game, JP, because they've been giving it all the time. And this time he pulls it 2 plays, 12 yards. Look at that. Time of possession, 38 seconds.
The last 2 drives, a single play for 60 yards, 2 plays after the defensive stop for 12 yards. And Tarboro starts to celebrate that run and the conversion that came with it, the icing on the cake. For a team, you got to remember, with Mount Airy standing in the way the last couple of years, trying to get back to the top of the hill, and it looks like they're headed there.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, here you have it. This young man, he's saying, hey, this is our year. 21 touchdowns coming into the game. He has, added a hat trick, as you said. Can't stop him. That's will, that's heart, and both teams are coached very well. Both teams have that will and heart. But right now, it's just a little too much, coming from the Tarboro Vikings.
You saw the McIver Law Office's scoring summary, and one more look at the Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown there for you. Why not? One more glance at the numbers thus far for Cameron McDowell Moore. Have yourself a state championship game number 2.
He's deserving all that praise. He's, getting the crowd hype. And where is he right now, JP? Is he on the field?
Pretty good idea he's going to be out there somewhere when you think of what
he's running down the middle of the field.
His day has been right where you would expect him to be, and he may be the guy in position to make the tackle. Pretty good cut here, keeps him from making that diving stop. And the Road kickoff is going to be met with a return into Tarboro territory at the 33-yard line. How about this spark? There is no quit in the Cardinals. Plenty of fight on this return.
Yeah, that's a great run. He thought he was stopped on that one side there. He comes out of the crowd running through those tackles at yards after contact, and he almost broke it. Great return there by the young man Best.
Noah Best, performance of his own to be remembered here in the state championship environment. Everybody lingering around back on this side of things as they wait to set the chains. Best was of the belief that he had taken it down to the 33-yard line on the other side, and that is exactly where they're headed. Well, let's check in with Hannah while they sort this out. Hannah?
Well, guys, we've seen a lot of action from Noah Best today, but he used to play corner and running back, and last year he got banged up and tore a ligament in his knees. So since then, he took the time to get refocused in all aspects. And Coach Emil Sr. told me that he got in the weight room more, went to a couple of camps over the summer. He's just really started to find his confidence, and we're seeing him be a bit more physical here today, guys.
Absolutely. He has been one of the headliners. Certainly, if you look on the Cardinals side of things right there, it gives them a little more life here in the fourth period. You've been watching this discussion transpire near side.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. It seems like it was unsportsmanlike after the whistle penalty on Corvian, and they moved them back from where they were. I didn't quite hear what the white hat said, but yeah, they had to move back. But nonetheless, they're just over midfield and got a fresh set of downs, and they need to put this one in to the end zone. They need one of those quick strikes like Tarboro's been doing these last couple possessions.
Yeah, had it down around the 33-yard line. Instead, it's going to start just inside Vikings territory at the 48. Well, now a little bit of an explanation required on the far side for this officiating crew. Again, honored to be a part of things out of the Triangle Association. Working extra hard. Stay warm on this. As we told you, 43-degree now evening at last check. Been a cool weekend here in the Carolinas as state championships later than ever. This weekend before the holiday. Hopefully your Christmas plans rolling along nicely wherever you are. A.J. Jackson goes up top. Best again, and he brings it home. Boy, Best. The jersey tells you everything you need to know. There are few spots on it not utilized in some way.
Yeah, there's no give up in these kids, right? They're still playing as hard as they can because they still have a chance. Putting both feet in. That's good on Saturday and Sunday afternoon. That was a great throw and catch by Jackson and Best there. And they, hope is still alive. It's still 6 minutes on the clock, and while there's still time, you can still have hope.
Yeah, these 13 seniors, this group of leaders, they have certainly shown their mettle, as has he. Josiah Dickens with his latest moment of impact, and he celebrates as they do check on A.J. Jackson. Dickens has been in the backfield more than once in this one, but right now all concerned with what's taking place with the training staff here. How about Dickens, though?
Yeah, it just looks like a delayed blitz there, and he got him up high. Maybe his head, hit the ground, and hope that young man's okay.
A.J. Jackson, as we told you, coming in, one of the great dual threat quarterbacks. And North Carolina guy who's like a nephew to his head coach, who certainly has the heart and soul of this group. Has shown what he's made of today. Talented multi-sport athlete. Point guard on a basketball team, having played for a title. Just tremendous career he has put together in putting this program on the map. He's up to his feet, which is a good sign to see. See the frustration that exists there. Of course, his dad a part of things. His dad and Cameron Jackson's dad making spaghetti, we were told, for the team this week, making sure that everybody was ready for this one. More than anything, we talked about the family connections and those guys, his dad, head coach, friends along the way for a long, long time. And Noah Best goes to the quarterback position instead, as you saw Craddock momentarily. Best has done everything else. Why not take a snap or two? And he's down to the 36-yard line.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get a chance to see number 2, the backup quarterback, Carson Nagel. But, yeah, You want the ball touching your best players' hands at all times. And so they move them back. And I see right here we have Nagel coming in. Hopefully Jackson's going to be okay. Yeah, getting the backup quarterback coming in, and you have to be ready when your number is called, JP.
Yeah, you talk about among the best players on the team. In this case, he's actually named that appropriately, as we have found out today. Nagel out there now. You see him working his way in there with the departure of A.J. Jackson. What a moment this must be. State championship moment for another young man. Johnson will help. Becomes a positive option to sling it out near side. It'll be for a gain, but behind the sticks here, plenty of work remains to be done. They're the vitals on the junior QB.
Yeah, I love the confidence that Coach Emil has in him. I mean, usually you're going to get them acclimated to the game. You let them hand it off just to get the speed. They drop back for a pass right there. I love that, the confidence that he has in his players.
Well, and he executed, at least in terms of delivering. It's 4th down and 12, and he'll complete another. Pretty good spurt, splitting the defenders on more than one occasion and winding and twisting until he finds the end zone. Doug Quarles the third with pay dirt. How about the young QB? Carson Nagel comes in. Couple of tosses. The last one for a Meg Brown Home Furnishings TD.
Comes in slinging. He runs off the field like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. Look at that. Great ball across the middle. Hits a 6'5" receiver in Quarles, and he does the rest. Look at that, boy. You got to love it. The backup players, you come in and you do your role.
You think if the final moments don't matter regardless of the outcome. And again, stranger things have happened. The Cardinals still fighting here. But even if they don't surge all the way back in this one, you're talking about a lifetime moment and a lifetime memory for a guy who comes in and embraces his role in these moments.
Second pass in the state championship game goes for a touchdown.
Let's break it down. One more glance at the Meg Brown Home Furnishings TD.
Yeah, straight drop back, hits Quarles on a slant, coming across the middle, and he does the rest, breaking through 1, 2, and even the third tackle. Hey, who told these guys the game is over? They're still playing as hard as they can. I love it.
Well, it's never over until the final ticks are off that game clock. There's still a hill to climb for the Cardinals, but they keep that fight alive with 4:34 to play. And, the one thing the Cardinals have on their side as well is we have seen this team secure the onside kick on more than one occasion. If, but for a little bit of an offsides penalty here and going out of bounds there. So they're on the verge of maybe getting that chance. Here's the most recent drive. Our McIver Law Firm scoring summary indicates half a field in 5 plays to get the job done.
Yeah, I love it. Carson's like, yeah, I got this. Just smile and wave. Like, yeah, I got you, fellas. No problem. Comes in second pass, throws a touchdown. And you're right, JP. They've executed 2 onside kicks successfully.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can get it right here, because it could very well change the scope of this game if they can get it.
Yeah, one went out of bounds or was going that way and just barely saved into Tarboro. The other on an offsides penalty negated. This one going to be gathered up by the hands team on the Vikings side. They were more than ready after the way those other 2 went, and Tarboro will have the football with 4:33 to play. Gives us a chance to check in one more time with Hannah. Take it away, Hannah.
Well, guys, A.J. Jackson back out on the field. He was getting a cut on his leg, tended to, and going through concussion protocol, but just a good sign to see him back out on the field, guys.
Absolutely, Hannah, and that's one thing about Ironman football. You don't have to wait around, Eric, to find out if he's good to go until the offense takes the field again. The QB's back out there in his defensive role.
There you go. You got to love it. It's once in a lifetime, possibly, to get to a state championship game. And, I like what Coach Emil was saying before the game. He said, have fun and enjoy the moment, because you may never get back here again. And for their first time, they're surely showing the grit in the fight.
Yeah, play some football and enjoy it. Those are great words and good life lessons for everybody involved. So rarely come around more than once. Now, don't tell that to Tarboro. 8 in a row.
False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And here this team is again in a position, even after this, to begin to try to salt away what would be a latest championship. They're going to be in rare air in North Carolina if they finish this thing off. You're talking about double-digit championships. There are not many schools that can say they've reached double digits as a championship threshold, and this team, with every one of these rushes, a little closer to that threshold. It has been an impressive season. It has been an impressive run across the last 8 years. And this was a group hungrier than ever because of the way the last 2 years ended in the state championship environment. They're looking poised to close the deal this time.
Yeah, had that chip on their shoulder. They played this season with Valhalla on their chest, as their goal. And they've proven that they deserved and earned the right to be here. And they are imposing their will. They are running the football so well, so efficiently. It's amazing to see this.
McDowell, Moore, Everett, and Satterfield, what you would expect them to be. And of course, we talked about the Cradocks and what investments they have made in that community and what it has meant. There you look at the senior, one of the great senior leaders on this squad. And to share this in the midst of a family really takes it to a whole other level. And, as you shared earlier, the memories you take home with you and you share for a lifetime, certainly among the great storylines. And, those images indicate just how far back it goes, just how deep it flows. And this is something that falls into those family memory categories that you'll never forget. Anna telling you the great story of the family connections on both sides a little bit earlier. A few images there to back up what she shared. And here's a real-time image that you can only imagine what's going through the minds from a father's perspective, from a son's perspective, and then from an overall family perspective for this group of Vikings.
Yeah, just, imagine, Coach Craddock's wife and his mom, and just how much pride they have. And when they see, just father and son out there playing and winning the state championship together. I mean, it's over the moon, JP.
Yeah, to close it out with a W, going to be something special as they inch closer to doing so. And I know there's still conversation about what happened in the high school days in the Gash household, no doubt. It's a family memory that lasts a lifetime. The beautiful thing about high school sports, and this is one of the first things that Coach Craddock wanted to point out, with as attached as you get to all the rest of your players, the father piece is special, but you become a family as an entire unit. And we know this about Tarboro, having seen them over the last several years. That whole community has a family mindset, and football is a big piece of the family traditions at Tarboro.
It certainly is. And you look at the success that community has had. And every single person in that community takes pride in that. They feel a part of this team, whether it's fixing the meal, whether it's, helping them out, serving in the community, whatever the case is, they take pride in this Tarboro football team.
Well, and they have plenty to be proud of in this season, particularly as they are 1 minute and a half or so away from returning to glory. For those outside the state of North Carolina who may be flipping across or finding us as they're here for the holidays, as we're a little close to Christmas, they may not know what the purple and gold means, what the Tarboro T is about. But they've shown it again once more tonight that this is a force to be reckoned with and one of the great North Carolina dynasties of all time. And it looks like 2024 is going to be the latest year added to the T-shirt there in Tarboro.
There you go. You're going to have to lengthen the T-shirts there with the amount of times that they get into the state championship game.
Timeout being taken by the Cardinals as they look to gather some moments of their own together, talk things over, and kind of reflect upon what a season it's been. Tarboro getting the job done back in 84, 2009, 2010, and 11, that 3-year run. Went back-to-back in 17 and 18, went back-to-back in 20 and 21. And it looks like they're going to make number 8 count here in 2024. What a season it's been for that Corvian Community Cardinals group. You get the sense this is going to be a group that's going to be heard from for a long time to come in all sports and on all fronts in North Carolina.
Once again, it's cementing their legacy, right? They've set the bar high, this group, and they know what it's like to get here. Now, of course, when you get here, you want to win it. But once you've tasted it, you got to get back. And so you can imagine the offseason workouts that they're going to go through and endure this year to get back here for next year.
Well, this group will always be special for the Cardinals when you consider that, this is the group that brought, as you saw him one more time just a moment ago, Uncle Chris on board in many ways. He shared with us some moments and memories and photos that Hannah shared with you. Some mental images that will always be there like postcards in their mind of these guys when they were young, now growing up to participate in a state championship together. And whatever the future of this Cardinals program holds, this is the group they will always point back to that laid the foundational building blocks.
And it goes back to that legacy. He says, have fun, enjoy the moment, because you never know if you'll make it back here. Nothing's promised. Of course, if, Tarboro, you probably have a tough time believing that it's not, but you want to make sure that you enjoy it. Make sure that you lock those memories in. And you would like to win, but if you don't win, make sure that you put the work in the offseason, preseason, and in the regular season to ensure that you get back here.
Boy, great closing chapters for both of these teams when it comes down to it. There's only room for one at the top, and we turn our attention to Tarboro now, as that Tarboro T is just about to add the latest numerical indicator of their dynasty, as 2024 is just a minute 28 away from becoming a championship season. Fourth down facing the Vikings here, but all of it seeming to be of little consequence now, as it's just a matter of salting away a championship on fourth down. Keep it on the ground. Fittingly, the first down and then some. There is the exclamation point. On a tremendous night personally and a championship night corporately, the hugs begin to be exchanged, and Tarboro with the latest Cameron McDowell-Moore touchdown, now on the verge of the championship celebration.
Yeah, and that was a fourth down run, JP. It's amazing. This young man is that's 4 touchdowns for him. Look at that. It's just power. Block down, kick out. They overwhelm you at the point of contact, and he does the rest.
This is when it has begun to sink in for the coaching staff once more, as they celebrate more than a touchdown. They celebrate the culmination of a year's worth of work, of a decade's worth of work in many ways, as the 8th in a row looks like it's going to go the direction that Tarboro had hoped. He scored 4 touchdowns a week ago and did it in a variety of different ways. These were all rushing, but they're 4 you'll take as well. What a night for that young man.
And what do you know, JP? They hit the extra point, right? There you go. They can do it. It is successful. Look at this young man. 77 plays, 55 yards.
Fitting finish, and Craddock on to boot the extra point through everything coming together for Tarboro here in the closing stages. There's the McIver Law summary on that most recent drive, and that's the drive that's going to cap, it would seem, a championship campaign. They're starting to pull away a little bit now. What can you say about what he's built there in Tarboro?
Oh, it's to be studied. Every coach at every level should talk to him and find out what he's doing to have this level of success. And the game is in the bag when the head coach no longer has on his headsets. He's just kind of like barking out instructions. Yeah, the game's over. It's about done. But yeah, it needs to be studied. How do you build such a tremendous program to get back, to have the consistency that they've had in Tarboro?
12th straight conference championship scenario, 8th straight championship of the East Regional to get to a state championship game. They'd won 4 of 5 prior to those 2 they dropped to Mount Airy, and now getting ready to be back on top here. It is everything Tarboro would have hoped. The wrong kickoff will finally be fielded down around the 2, and here comes the return, but the Vikings are there. 6-yard line will be the starting point for this drive, with 1:14 left separating the celebration. Said he'll take some time with his family. The community will celebrate it. It'll be pep rally style, as they always do in the land of the Vikings. And 24 now becomes a number and a year that will be prominently displayed among all the others for Tarboro and one of the great dynasties in the state of North Carolina. What are they chasing? Well, Reidsville you're familiar with, right?
Yeah.
19 is the official number that is recognized by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. Talk to folks in that community, they'll tell you there were a few more.
Yeah.
But obviously not state championship games played every year in the history of the organization. But some work to be done, but to get there. But boy, to be in double figures now, what Tarboro's done, just remarkable. And this one going to be celebrated for a while. Now he said that he gives it until the first day of school. I think next year that's January the 6th. So until the first day of school, early January, and then they'll start working on the next one. That's kind of the way it goes in Tarboro.
Yeah, if you believe that. He's going to start thinking about that on the bus ride back, what they have to do. But that's what the great ones do, JP. It's never an ending. It's a never-ending process. They're always thinking about how can we get better? What can we do to ensure that we get back here the next time? And you can best believe that the kids are thinking that as well.
No, it was a special moment for him to look across and see an Ohio guy on the other side, and an individual that shares his affection for the group he'll be watching a little later on, those Buckeyes in the college football playoff for the first time ever, not to mention what it means with the level of success he had and has had in the state of Ohio, now joining him in North Carolina. You get the sense that this game is part of a new and budding friendship on that front as well. But the gentleman who has set up shop in Eastern North Carolina there in Tarboro has got the latest of the titles within a minute away now. What are your takeaways from this championship game, particularly in the way they performed here today?
I look at how well both these teams are coached, and not just in the play, but as men. I mean, they're helping their, opponent up.
Yes.
They hit them, they help them up. They pat them on the back of the head if they make a good play. That's amazing. But it goes to the culture and the character that these two coaches have instilled in both of these programs.
Yeah, the things that matter beyond the outcome itself, that is for sure. And they got pretty good role models when you talk about the two individuals that have poured their heart and soul into these programs. 37 seconds as the clock comes to a halt. And, we're always reminded when you see these images of the coaches in the closing moments that this is not a one-day event. This is a lifetime piece of business. I mean, you think about when the lifting started and when the roster was pieced together. I mean, this has been a long-time journey to reach this moment.
Certainly. And with football, you're always in season. Either it's preseason, regular season, right? Postseason or off season. But you're always in season, and you're going to be working towards the goal of making it here to the state championship.
Craddock still in there trying to make the stop. The elder of the Craddock's looking on as the final seconds begin to roll off here. 22 and ticking downward remain. Well, they reeled off 9 in a row to get here for the 8th consecutive time. 10 wins in a row means 10 championships in the history of this program. The Tarboro T, with the latest of its championships, and it is Valhalla for the Vikings.
That's a great moment there. Father and son embracing each other after a championship game. That's amazing.
The Valhalla approach that was documented, shared, and communicated by Coach Craddock of sacrificial love and sacrificial investment in one another. And it has culminated in a championship. 10 championships all time, and the 8th straight appearance will see the Vikings wear the crown. What a remarkable afternoon turned evening this has been. Corvian will be heard from for a long time to come, Eric.
Yeah, you can only imagine, JP. I mean, hats off to both of these programs. Congratulations to Coach Craddock and his family. They can celebrate this time together. What a Christmas gift. Right, Christmas is next week. We're playing it late. The only thing that will make this perfect is snow right now, JP. We didn't have that tonight, but we did have some really good football being played.
Well, let's check in and get the thoughts of the victorious head coach of the Vikings.
Well, Coach, you knew that today was going to be the final test. How was your team able to be dominant in all 3 phases of the football today?
Well, I don't know how dominant we were defensively in the second half. I mean, what I love about that Corvian football team is they're a very resilient team, and as soon as I thought we had them put away, they would come back and make a big play. So hats off to them. Great team. Head coaches have done a great job, but we hung in there ourselves as well. We responded every time they responded, and it just feels so good to get to win and finally bring the state title back home to Tarboro.
Now, Valhalla has been the mantra all season long, that self-sacrifice and unselfishness. How was that evident in this group today?
Well, it's just how we play. I mean, once again, you saw Cam McDowell-Moore, I think, had a tremendous game, but my running backs didn't care. My linemen didn't care. I mean, they were whoever's going to have a great game, have a great game. And so we just kept grinding them out. And Coach Babb called a great offensive game, and Coach Harding did so on defense. They just happened to make some plays. Thank you.
Now, after falling short the past 2 seasons, your seniors came in your office and made a promise that they would finish the job this season. What do you walk up this field feeling today?
I'm so blessed and thankful. I'm so happy for my senior class. So happy thank you, sir. So happy for our great community that we get to celebrate to the holiday. I think Christmas is around the corner, so we get to celebrate this holiday season with another title coming back home. So, like I said, I just can't be more blessed and thankful for the opportunity to coach these guys. Great bunch of guys.
Sharing this moment with your son too, a special moment as he's a senior and a captain. How do you feel about this moment with him?
It means everything to me. That's what we had talked about at home. This is what we have been working towards, and to finally be able to celebrate with him, and I'm sure the celebration will continue. But the whole team, obviously especially because it's my son, and I love him so very, very much. I'm so proud. But it's been a long time coming, and I'm excited.
Well, go enjoy this one with your team coach. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
A lifetime of preparation and moments to remember. I should have attributed it to Tyler Powell and Cameron McDowell Moore's dads. They cooked the baked spaghetti. Whatever that meal was, it worked out, certainly for this guy. How about this Carolina Ford dealer's drive of the game? It was the 4-play 37-yarder in just over a minute that was capped by one of his touchdown rushes.
Yeah, it's a three-headed monster right there. You see this young man, he runs so hard. He may be undersized, but let me tell you something, man. I'd take him in a street fight any day. This is simply awesome display of football.
Now, 4 touchdowns tonight for the guy wearing jersey number 2. You saw Mason Satterfield there. Certainly Everett was a part of it. They call it the three-headed Viking monster, and it was everything you would expect it to be in this one. The leader of that group, well, he is wearing jersey number 2. Doubled that total in touchdowns again. What a night for Cameron McDowell Moore. It's going to turn out to be after a solid day here in Raleigh. He is our Tatum and Atkinson player of the game.
Great vision, great strength, great running. Great job, young man.
Brought to you by the heavy hitters. He certainly was one for the Vikings. One of the main reasons they have found Valhalla in this one. Back to wrap it in a moment. The Vikings working their way back on top.
Life can be tough. The daily grind, the pressures, the uncertainties, it all adds up. Let's be open and honest about our mental health. Let's support each other when we're hurting, because it's okay not to be okay.